Chapter 66. Shanghai City, CBD Central Business District, 68th floor of Fortune Building. Starlight Show headquarters. At 10 o'clock in the evening, it was still brightly lit. The special nature of the live platform requires employees to often work night shifts. Zhang Guangjie half leaned on the big office chair and stared at the 32-inch big screen in front of him with gloomy eyes. There seemed to be a huge storm forming in his eyes, which would erupt with terrible power at any time. This 40-year-old middle-aged man was thin and tall, with an ordinary appearance. He belonged to the kind of passerby who couldn't be found in the crowd. But more than 200 employees of StarLive Media Company have a deep memory of his image. Because Zhang Guangjie is the CEO of StarLive Media Company. He is strong with an iron fist and works swiftly and decisively. If any employee is careless and caught by him, then the end is often very miserable. Since he took charge of StarLive Media Company, the number of employees he has personally fired has reached double digits. And at this moment, the CEO's face was covered with a dark cloud, indicating that his anger has accumulated to a high level, just waiting for the victim to appear. Ring, ring, the phone beside the computer suddenly rang, and the red light flashed, indicating that the call request came from the internal line. Zhang Guangjie reached out and pressed the answer button. The secretary's gentle and sweet voice sounded on the phone. "President Zhang, Manager Zhao is here." Zhang Guangjie said, "Let him in." After that, he cut off the call. After a while, a man with a thin face, small eyes, and a hooked nose pushed open the office door and came in. When he saw Zhang Guangjie, he immediately asked respectfully, "President Zhang, are you looking for me?" Zhang Guangjie nodded expressionlessly. "Sit down." The thin-faced man subconsciously swallowed his saliva and carefully sat down opposite Zhang Guangjie. Zhao Depeng is the manager of StarLive Media's Operation Management Department. He is an authoritative figure in the Operations Management Department. But in the face of Zhang Guangjie, he is no different from ordinary employees. He is a mouse, and Zhang Guangjie is a cat. Everything has its vanquisher. Zhao Depeng knows very well that as long as Zhang Guangjie says a word, he can roll down from the throne of the Operations Management Manager. After sitting down, Zhang Guangjie didn't speak and stared at Zhao Depeng until the latter's forehead was sweating. Zhang Guangjie suddenly asked, "Manager Zhao, how long have you been in StarLive Media?" Zhao Depeng quickly replied, 2 years, almost 2 years. Starlight Show has not been established for a long time, so Zhao Depeng is also an old employee. "Almost 2 years, Zhang Guangjie sighed and said, "I remember that you came from Whale TV For the past 2 years, you have helped the company unearth quite a number of talents. For StarLive to be able to develop to its current scale, you have contributed a lot." Zhao Depeng had the urge to burst into tears. He thought he had made a big mistake. Now listening to Zhang Guangjie's tone, it seemed that he wanted to promote him. He could not help but relax, secretly laughing at his own suspicions. However, in the next moment, Zhao Depeng's mood instantly fell into hell. "However, many employees have responded that you act arbitrarily in your work and do not tolerate the opinions of others. Recently, the company has also received complaint from several anchors, accusing them of being treated unfairly by the operations management." Zhang Guangjie looked at Zhao Depeng mockingly and asked, "Manager Zhao, what's your explanation for this?" The sweat on Zhao Depeng's forehead came out again, and he argued, "Mr. Zhang, those are... Let's not talk about that." As soon as he wanted to explain a few words, he was rudely interrupted by Zhang Guangjie. "Explain first what's going on." The CEO of StarLive Media reached out and turned the display in front of him 180 degrees and showed it to Zhao Depeng. Zhao Depeng's face turned red in an instant. What was displayed on the screen was the forum of Whale TV. Zhao Depeng was very familiar with it because he was a senior executive of Whale TV 2 years ago. But this was not the reason why his face was flushed, but the content of the post opened in the forum. This post was pinned high in the Lu Jiajun fish nest section. Its content included a picture and hundreds of words of complaint, saying that the anchor Lu Fei was suppressed by super administrator in Starlight Show and was forced to sign an overbearing contract. Finally, his account was blocked, and there was no way to complain. The super administrator 002 in the screenshot is not Zhao Depeng. Super administrator 001 is Zhang Guangjie. Zhao Depeng almost spat out a mouthful of old blood on the spot. He had long forgotten about this matter, because he had encountered more than one or two small anchors who did not know how to appreciate favors, and he had never seen anyone who could set off any storm at all. If he wanted to suppress, then he would suppress. If he wanted to ban, then he would ban. Those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. The anchors under Starlight Show, except for a few top gods, are they not at his mercy? But Zhao Depeng now knows that even among the newcomers, there are crouching tigers and hidden dragons. This pinned post was like a heavy slap to his face. It didn't matter if he didn't know before, but now he was exposed by Zhang Guangjie. Where could he put his face? Zhang Guangjie said lightly, I don't interfere in the affairs of the operations management department because I trust manager Zhao. This anchor named Lu Fei signed a contract with Whale TV after our Starlight Show account was banned. In less than a month, Lu Fei's highest popularity in Whale TV has exceeded 1 million, and he won the runner-up in the just-ended PK theme show. His current audience is more than 750,000. The people in the brokerage department have seen his live performance and evaluated him as a talented newcomer. What do you think of this, Manager Zhao? Zhao Depeng finally understood why Zhang Guangjie called him to the office alone. What employees accused the anchor and complained were trivial matters. What really killed him was that he missed a promising newcomer. At present, Starlight Show is spending a lot of money to dig up talents everywhere. His mistake is simply unforgivable, and there is no way to quibble. It is clear in the post. There are pictures and the truth. Zhao Depeng's mouth was full of bitterness, and he couldn't find a suitable reason to defend himself. Moreover, Zhang Guangjie is a ruthless character who doesn't rub sand in his eyes. Denying it will only make the CEO more disgusted. He bowed his head and said painfully, President Zhang, this is all my fault. I will find a way to make up for it. Zhang Guangjie sighed. His right index finger tapped the table gently, as if he was thinking. Zhao Depeng was like a prisoner waiting to be sentenced, frightened and fearful. After a long time, Zhang Guangjie asked, How are you going to make up for it? Zhao Depeng was suddenly refreshed, like a drowning man who found a life-saving straw. He quickly said, There should be information about this anchor in the server. I will contact him right away and give him a high-paying contract. Isn't the brokerage department optimistic about him? Then give him another artist contract. I don't believe we can't poach him. When it comes to poaching people, Zhao Depeng is simply possessed by a god. All his confidence returned to him in an instant. Zhao Depeng came from Whale TV. After jumping to Starlight Show, he poached more than a dozen anchors from Whale TV. In terms of poaching people, he is really not afraid of anyone. Zhang Guangjie nodded and said, I have already asked someone to understand. Lu Fei is still signing an ordinary contract. His signing fee is 50,000 yuan, but Whale TV will definitely re-sign a new contract with him. You don't have much time. Zhao Depeng knew that Zhang Guangjie said that he would not interfere in the affairs of the operations management department. In fact, the CEO has a strong control over the company, and he also has a lot of insiders in his hands, so he is very well informed. That's great. He immediately stood up and said, I will contact Lu Fei right away and talk to him face-to-face tomorrow. Zhang Guangjie said, he should be in Beijing. You should go and come back quickly. The company will also hold a similar event recently. Zhao Depeng knew that he had finally broken through this hurdle. He quickly said, I will ask someone to book a ticket immediately. Zhang Guangjie nodded again and said, Old Zhao, I have given you the opportunity. If this matter is still messed up, then I have no reason to help you suppress the opposition within the company. Do you understand? Zhao Depeng listened with a chill in his heart. He suddenly felt that the temperature of the office's air conditioning was too low. Chapter 67. Habit is a terrible thing. Last night, Lu Chun slept very late, so today he wanted to sleep in comfortably as a reward for himself. However, the long-term accumulated habit made him wake up on time. After opening his eyes, he was no longer sleepy. Although Lu Chun told himself that after working hard for so long and earning a lot of money, it wasn't a sin to rest for half a day. However, the heavy debt at home, the expectations for the future, the ambition hidden in his heart, it was like a powerful whip constantly whipping Lu Chun. It told him that he didn't have the right to be lazy. Lu Chun got up, brushed his teeth, washed his face, changed into sportswear, and ran out of the house. After running to the small park by the river, he saw the old man who practiced Tai Chi. "Grandpa, you're early today." Lu Chun politely greeted him and secretly felt ashamed. The white-haired old man could persist in morning exercise, but he actually wanted to be lazy. His willpower was really not strong enough. The old man snorted and glanced at Lu Chun indifferently. Lu Chun touched his nose speechlessly. There should be a lot of dust on it. This grandpa still remembers things. He no longer asked for a snub and ran to the old place to start practicing Tai Chi. The Beijing Third Ring Road area was densely populated, and there were many communities around it. There were many people exercising in the small park every day. Because of his boxing, Lu Chun had been surrounded by people several times before. He felt like he was a monkey performing, so now he was used to hiding in a corner. He had liked this kind of exercise, and the improvement of his physical fitness was also obvious. A strong physique is really important. The memory from Mo Ran tells Lu Chun that a real actor must have a healthy body. When it comes to acting, even in the coldest weather, if it's time to jump into the river, you must jump. Although in the short term, Lu Chun wouldn't develop into an acting career, a strong physique couldn't be trained in a day or two. His efforts now laid the foundation for future success. After a round of Tai Chi, Lu Chun was sweating all over, but he was very happy. "Little guy, you practice Wing Chun, right?" At this moment, the voice of the old man came from the side. Lu Chun turned around in surprise and said, "Sir, you really have a discerning eye. I just practiced blindly." The old man who suddenly appeared said disdainfully, "You're quite blind. I used my phone to take a video and showed it to a real expert. He said that your practice was not authentic and that you didn't even master the routine well." Cough, cough. Just a moment ago, Lu Chun had said that he had a discerning eye, but in the end, he had exposed himself. In order to understand Lu Chun's fist technique, he actually filmed it secretly. Lu Chun held back his laughter as he nodded and said, "That expert is right." It was like he was coaxing a child. It was true that Lu Chun practiced Wing Chun, but his boxing style had been improved to be more suitable for men to practice. In his dream world, there were many martial artists and even superstars in the film and television industry who were proficient in this set of fist techniques. In order to meet the needs of the film and television series, they had incorporated the essence of many other fighting techniques. Therefore, it was quite different from the traditional routine. But he couldn't explain this to the other party, especially to this stubborn old man. The old man snorted twice and said, "It's good that you know. I'm leaving." He was a little embarrassed, but Lu Chun's attitude was impeccable. He had no choice but to run away. Lu Chun smiled and didn't take it to heart. He returned home and continued to work. Just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Lu Chun arrived on time at the Fury Hotel on the Second Ring Road. This 5-star hotel was quite famous in the capital. In the cafe on the second floor of the hotel, he saw 2 guests from Shanghai City. They were a middle-aged man and a young man with glasses. "I'm really sorry to have kept you waiting." Lu Chun quickly apologized and took the initiative to reach out to the middle-aged man who had just got up. "I'm Lu Fei." The middle-aged man shook his hand and said with a smile, "It doesn't matter. We just arrived here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Zhao Depeng, Operations Management Manager of Starlight Show. This is my assistant, Little Zhao." Lu Chun said with a smile, "Hello, Manager Zhao." The 3 of them sat down, and the waiter came over to inquire. Lu Chun ordered a cup of coffee. Zhao Depeng said straightforwardly. Mr. Lu Fei, you are a young man with great creative talent, and our Starlive Media needs talents like you. I wonder if you would like to join our company? As for the conditions of treatment, he said in a confident and reserved tone, it's far better than Whale TV. You will definitely be satisfied. Last night, Zhao Depeng asked his assistant to contact Lu Chun and rush to the capital on this morning's flight. When he got off the plane, he rushed to the Fury Hotel in order to win the contract with Lu Chun. This contract is related to whether he can continue to mix in the company, so he has applied for a high level of authority. Zhao Depeng didn't believe that the contract he took out would not impress Lu Chun. Perhaps it was because of this confidence that his words naturally carried a hint of arrogance and bossiness. He's used to it. Zhao Depeng didn't feel it himself, but Lu Chun heard it clearly. He put down his coffee cup, showed a very interested look, and asked, "Can you introduce it to me, Manager Zhao?" Sure enough, he's a newcomer. When Zhao Depeng saw Lu Chun's expression, he immediately felt relieved. According to past experience, as long as the anchor is moved by him, no one can escape from his hands. The operations management manager took the briefcase from the assistant, took out a contract, and handed it to Lu Chun. "Mr. Lu Fei, this contract is tailor-made for you." Lu Chun took the contract and looked at it carefully. The contract given to him by Starlive Media seems to be very good on the surface. First of all, there is a signing bonus of 500,000 plus 300,000 for breach of contract. The latter is based on the terms of the contract signed by Lu Chun with Shark TV. If Lu Chun wants to jump from Shark TV to Starlight Show, then the liquidated damages cannot be less. Starlive Media has already prepared it for him. The basic annual salary is 300,000 plus 10% bonus. At the same time, Starlive Media also provides him with millions of packaging and promotion, spanning the live broadcasting platform and the entertainment industry. If it were someone else, I am afraid that they would be excited to see such a clause. Who doesn't want to run into the star-studded entertainment industry with fame and fortune? But Lu Chun did not ignore the trap lurking under the bright and attractive surface of this contract. That is the copyright. As long as Lu Chun signs this contract, the copyright of all his works will belong to Starlive Media. In essence, it is the same as the new artist contract given to him by Light Rain Media. The term of the contract is also 10 years, and Starlive Media has the right to terminate the contract at any time. Under the gaze of Zhao Depeng's expectant eyes, Lu Chun put down the contract and asked, "Manager Zhao, I heard that you're used to preparing 2 contracts when you poach people. Can I see the other one?" "What?" Zhao Depeng couldn't help but be surprised and asked, "How do you know?" This is a little trick that Zhao Depeng often uses when poaching people. When negotiating, he first gives a bad contract. If he can sign it, it is naturally the best. If he really can't reach an agreement, then he will come up with a new contract to make the final decision. Zhao Depeng didn't expect that Lu Chun actually knew his habitual means. In fact, Lu Chun knows more than Zhao Depeng thought. He grinned and said, "Manager Zhao, if I'm not mistaken, you're Super Administrator 002, right?" A rush of blood rushed to Zhao Depeng's head in an instant, and his face suddenly turned red. The biggest hidden danger in his poaching of Lu Chun was that he once blocked Lu Chun's account as a super administrator. Lu Chun has put the denunciation post in the forum, so he must have taken it to heart. Zhao Depeng originally believed that a generous contract could make Lu Chun forget this discord. Who would be angry with money? However, now he suddenly found that all his thoughts were seen clearly by Lu Chun. Zhao Depeng had a bad feeling and subconsciously asked, "Who told you that?" Lu Chun still had a smile on his face, pointed to the door of the coffee shop, and said, "You want to look for him?" Zhao Depeng couldn't help but look back and was immediately dumbfounded. Chapter 68. There are 3 people who just appeared at the door of the coffee shop. Walking in the front is a tall, middle-aged man, about 40 years old, wearing a suit. Behind him was a woman in a white dress and a skinny man in glasses. Zhao Depeng knows this tall man, and he is very familiar with him. Wu Hongming, the operations director of Whale TV, Zhao Depeng and Wu Hongming are not only former colleagues, but also old friends who have known each other for many years. But the friendship of the past has long since disappeared. Now it is not an exaggeration to say that the two sides are enemies. Seeing Wu Hongming, Zhao Depeng immediately understood. He was fooled by Lu Chun. Lu Chun didn't have the idea of signing a contract with Starlive Media at all. He knew that Zhao Depeng was Super Administrator 002. Zhao Depeng suddenly turned his head and was not surprised to see a mocking smile on Lu Chen's face. That's undisguised sarcasm. The face of the Starlive Media Operations Management Manager turned purple, and a stuffy breath was held in his chest. His head was a little dizzy, and he forced himself not to make a fool of himself on the spot. He really lost a lot of face today. Zhao Depeng thought that it would be easy to deal with a newcomer in his early 20s by himself. He didn't expect that the other party would play with him and take revenge for the previous discord. He flew more than 2,000 kilometers to Beijing, which was like sending his face to the door. What makes people's hair stand on end is that Lu Chun was talking to him seriously about the contract just now. His acting skills are so superb that he can mix in the film and television circle. It's not as simple as revenge. Zhao Depeng quickly realized. Lu Chun is using him, or more accurately, using Starlive Media as a bargaining chip to negotiate a new contract with Whale TV. Otherwise, why would Wu Hongming appear so coincidentally? Zhao Depeng wanted to swear, but countless words were blocked in his throat, and finally he spat out only one word. Because he sadly found that he couldn't do anything to Lu Chun at all. Now Lu Chun is not the little anchor in the Starlight show that he could need. Since manager Zhao is unwilling, then forget it. Lu Chun stood up with a smile. He took out his wallet from his pocket, took out a 50 yuan bill, and put it under his coffee cup. He said, "I hope there will be opportunities for cooperation in the future. Goodbye." Lu Chun nodded at the dumbfounded assistant and left. At this moment, Zhao Depeng's heart felt as if 10,000 horses were galloping. He stared at Lu Chen's back. If looks could kill, then Lu Chun would already be riddled with holes. The assistant asked timidly, "Manager Zhao, then now we go back." Zhao Depeng struggled to stand up and said weakly, "Let's return to the deep sea immediately." He would only be humiliating himself if he continued to stay here. He really didn't want Wu Hongming to see him in such a sorry state. The assistant wanted to say that the return ticket had not been booked, but Zhao Depeng was like this. If he poured salt into the other party's wound, he would be waiting to be fired. Just as the two of them left the tea house, a polite but vigilant reminder came from behind them. "Sir, you forgot to pay the bill." The waiter's voice was not loud, but it was particularly clear in the quiet coffee shop. Many guests nearby turned their heads and looked over after hearing it. Most of their eyes were curious or contemptuous. Zhao Depeng's old face, which had just faded a little, was instantly heavily painted with a new layer. He noticed that Wu Hongming, who was talking to Lu Chun not far away, also looked at him. The Starlive Media Operations Management Manager almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. If he had known that this would be the result, he would not have come to the capital. Not to mention that he was humiliated in vain. The most important task was not completed, and there was no way to explain it to Zhang Guangjie when he went back. He could completely foresee his bleak and desperate future in the company. Zhao Depeng. Wu Hongming glanced at his old rival, snorted softly, and said, "He really has a face." It was he who told Lu Chun that Zhao Depeng was Starlight Show Super Administrator 002. After the Whale TV executive meeting last night, he personally called Lu Chun to discuss the contract. As a result, he learned from Lu Chun that Starlive Media would also send people to the capital. Based on his understanding of Zhao Depeng, Wu Hongming revealed this secret to Lu Chun, which was not a secret, because he knew very well that Starlive Media's poaching must be the operations management manager. The result was as expected. At the same time, Wu Hongming also admired Lu Chun a little. The latter obviously played with Zhao Depeng, and at the same time used Starlive Media's people to implicitly remind himself that the price of the new contract cannot be bad. In business, he didn't think there was anything wrong with Lu Chen's approach, and he was prepared for it. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Let's sit down and talk." Whale TV sent Wu Hongming and Wu Shanshan to talk to him about the new contract. The former was the first time he met, and the latter was often talked about in QQ. Of course, it was the first time he met them in person. As for the third person who accompanied him, the thin and tall man with glasses, his identity was actually the editor of Yunjing Music Network. The other party's name was Suiyan, and his ID name was Suiyuan. Of course, Lu Chun knows Yunjing Music Network, which is one of the top music websites in China. The appearance of this editor, Suiyan, made him have some subtle associations. As for the truth, it has to be slowly and carefully understood. The four found a place to sit down. After ordering coffee and tea, they quickly got to the point. What Wu Hongming brought to Lu Chun was an electronic contract. The advantage of electronic contracts is that they are very convenient to modify, and it is also very simple to print them into a formal contract after they're finalized. The sincerity of Whale TV is undoubtedly shown in this electronic contract. The new contract they gave to Lu Chun is 50 plus 50 plus 70% plus 30%, 500,000 signing fee plus 500,000 annual salary, plus 70% reward share and 30% value-added benefit share. The contract period is 3 years, and Whale TV has the right to terminate the contract in advance and have the priority to renew the contract. The most important thing is that Whale TV does not require possession of his original copyright, as long as there is reasonable authorization. On Wu Shanshan's laptop, Lu Chen looked at the electronic contract carefully. He did not find any clause traps or ambiguities in it. The rights and obligations of both parties are clear. There is no doubt that his heart is very satisfied, but the conditions that should be mentioned still have to be mentioned. Manager Wu, Lu Chen said bluntly to Wu Hongming, "I just said 2 points. The first point is that the signing fee of 500,000 is too little. The second point is that the 3-year contract period is too long. I hope it can be changed to 2 years. I have no other opinions. The signing fee of 500,000 is amazing for a new anchor, but according to Lu Chen's current popularity, it is really not much. The first female anchor of Whale TV, Chinger Baby, is said to have a signing fee of 5 million. Of course, due to the need for publicity, the 5 million signing fee may be exaggerated, but even if it is discounted, 2 or 3 million is definitely a lot. In contrast, the 500,000 signing fee given to Lu Chun is undoubtedly not enough. Wu Hongming pondered for a moment and said, "Lu Chun, these 2 conditions of yours can be discussed, but please let me think about it. How about you talk to editor Sui first?" Of course, Lu Chun has no objection. He is actually very curious about the purpose of the editor of Yunjing Music Network. The purpose of Suiyan's visit is very simple. The editor hopes that Lu Chun can organize his original works into a complete music album, and then put it on Yunjing Music Network for promotion and pay download. The founder of Campus Folk Songs, Suiyan's eyes flashed with excitement. He said, "I have listened to all the original works you played and sang on the PK theme show several times. Except for Fly Higher and Blue Lotus, the style of the other songs is too suitable to be recorded as a folk album. It has unique selling points. I believe the sales will be good." Lu Chen was really moved. Making an album is the dream of countless singers. Even if it is an online album, it is a good thing for many people to be able to advertise and sell on a big music website platform, such as Yunjing Music Network. Lu Chun has a lot of songs from his memory in the dream world, but the works he left for himself are very unified in style. In addition to being used on the PK theme show, isn't it also to prepare for an album? It's just that it's really not easy for an unknown new singer to release an album. Even if it's barely released, it's still a loss. Maybe he can't even earn money from shouting. Lu Chun doesn't want to do things like puffing himself up to impress others. However, now that the opportunity has been sent to him, why doesn't he take advantage of it? Chapter 69. In a quiet and beautiful afternoon, the negotiation between Lu Chun and Wu Hongming was also friendly and sincere. It was precisely this sincere and friendly atmosphere that made him not stick to his goal requirements. The two sides finally reached an agreement of 650,000 signing fee plus a 2-year contract, and Whale TV has the right to terminate the contract in advance and have the priority to renew the contract. While Lu Chun was satisfied, he also thought that he should find an agent for himself. Originally, it was most appropriate for such a negotiation to be handled by an agent. A qualified and competent agent will always put the interests of the employer first. He will dare to ask for an exorbitant price and dare to fight with his opponent. He can completely put down his face. Lu Chun can't do it himself. Although he used Zhao Depaying as a stepping stone and occupied a considerable initiative in the negotiation, because of his character, he couldn't force himself to be ruthless and haggle with Wu Hongming for the sake of interests. For Whale TV and Wu Shanshan, Lu Chun always has a sense of gratitude. Therefore, the memory experience from a dream world tells him that he really needs an agent. It should be known that his future is not in a live broadcast platform, but in a broader world, which will inevitably have countless negotiations. Lu Chun can't do it himself every time. After finalizing the new contract, Wu Shanshan took her laptop and went outside to find a place to print it. Lu Chun and Sui Yin, the editor of Yunjing Music Network, continued to discuss. Even if it's an online album, it's not something that can be done immediately. First of all, Lu Chun has to prepare 10 songs for himself, which is the standard number of songs for a pop album. This is, of course, very simple for Lu Chun. He has sung 6 songs: You Who Sat Next to Me, Love in the Wind, The Brother Who Slept on My Upper Bunk, Cinderella, The Bright Times of Youth, and Beauty, so 4 more songs are enough. Lu Chun has even thought about which 4 songs to use to make up for his first album. But the problem is that making an album is different from playing and singing in the live broadcast room. In order to ensure quality in sales, all 10 songs must be arranged and recorded in a professional recording studio with the accompaniment of a band, as well as post-production and so on. In this regard, Lu Chun did not have much experience, and the memories from his dreams could not help him, because even Su Bo had not released a real album. However, as long as he made up his mind, all difficulties could be overcome. Especially after signing a new contract with Whale TV, Lu Chun would have the money to complete the work in front of him. As for the cooperation with Yunjing Music Network, it is only an intention at present. Swain was very talkative. His understanding of pop music and the entertainment circle made Lu Chun admire him very much. Wu Shanshan came back with the printed contract. Lu Chun solemnly signed his name on it. That night, he invited the 3 guests from afar to have a sumptuous dinner in the Fury Hotel. Manager Wu, Sister Shanshan, Brother Sui. After dinner, Lu Chun asked, "Do you have any plans for tonight?" Wu Hongming and Sui Yin looked at each other, and the latter replied with a smile, "I'm going to see some friends tomorrow. I don't have any plans tonight." "Why, Lu Chun, are you going to arrange activities for us?" Sui Yin has a good impression of Lu Chun. He is young, handsome, talented, and modest and polite. He is not like many of his peers who have a little bit of ability and have their noses in the sky and look like they are the best in the world. Lu Chun smiled and said, "If there is nothing else, how about I invite you all to sit in the bar?" Wu Shanshan's eyes lit up. "Is it your Forget Grass bar?" Lu Chun nodded. Wu Shanshan smiled and her eyebrows curved. "That's great." Wu Hongming had no objection. So Lu Chun took the 3 of them by taxi and went to Forget Grass Bar in Hohai. Because it was Sunday night and they came a little late, there were no empty seats in the bar. Lu Chun hurriedly found Chun Jinhao to explain the situation. The latter not only readily provided reserved VIP tables, but also personally greeted the 3 guests from Deep Sea. After Lu Chun introduced the 2 sides to each other, they went to the backstage of the bar. The backstage room was also very lively. In addition to Li Hong, Wang Xiaoshui, and other old colleagues, Sister Na was also there. There were also 4 male and female singers who he was unfamiliar with. They should be here to run the show. As soon as she saw Lu Chun, Sister Na immediately shouted exaggeratedly, "Look who is here! It's a rare guest!" Lu Chun touched his nose in embarrassment and said with a wry smile, "Sister Na, please spare my life." He now focuses on live broadcasting online, so the number of times he comes to forget Grass Bar is getting less and less. After all, compared to Whale TV, the money that Lu Chun earned in the bar is really much worse. Perhaps one day, he will become famous and no longer worry about money. Then he may return to the bar, hold a guitar on stage, and sing casually, chat, drink, and talk music with 3 or 5 friends and kill the idle time. But not now. Sister Na smiled and gave him a hug and said, "Sister Na is joking with you. I'm very happy that you can come. Let's go inside. Big Chin and I have something to tell you." "Okay." Lu Chun readily agreed, said hello to Li Hong and the others, and then went to the small suite with Sister Na. When walking over, Lu Chun asked, "Didn't Brother Yi come tonight?" He noticed that Yi Jinyang was not there. Sister Na said, "He is no longer in Forget Grass Bar. He resigned and left." Otherwise, speaking of Yi Jinyang, Sister Na's tone had a hint of disdain. Lu Chun nodded and did not speak. He knew that Yi Jinyang leaving Forget Grass Bar was related to him, but he had no responsibility. Sister Na said, "Xiao Lu, you will definitely enter the entertainment circle in the future. That circle is too complicated. You have to remember that you can't have the heart to harm others, and you can't have the heart to guard against others. Some people, no matter how good you are to them, who knows when they will stab you?" Lu Chun smiled and said, "I know. Thank you for reminding me, Sister Na." While talking, Sister Na pushed the door open, and the two came to the small suite where the band was located. Qin Hanyang and all the members of the Bionics were there. They were rehearsing a new song. When they saw Lu Chun and Sister Na, everyone stopped practicing and the drummer stood up. Today's Lu Chun is no longer the part-time waiter singer. His creative talent has a wide reputation in the entire Ho-Hai circle. The price tag of 200,000 yuan for a song has been talked about by people. And Lu Chun's original song, In the Spring, which was given to the Bionics, was exchanged by Chun Jinhao with 5% of the bar's shares. This matter has even been discussed as a legend in the circle. Qin Hanyang put down the electric guitar and said with a smile, "Xiao Lu, you came at the right time. Sister Na and I were looking for you." Lu Chun asked curiously, "Brother Qin, what is it?" Sister Na smiled and said, "Let's sit down and talk." What they wanted to talk about with Lu Chun was actually very simple. Sister Na and the Bionics joined Light Rain Media. Their new songs, In the Spring and I Want to Have a Home, will be promoted on the internet and radio next month. If they are successful, then Light Rain Media agreed to release a mini-album for them. The so-called mini-album is actually a shrunken version of a complete CD. It usually contains 5 songs and is sold at a lower price than an album. The distribution method is more flexible, so it is used by many singers and is also called a compact disc. Since the Bionics added Sister Na as the lead singer, Light Ray Media hopes that the two can invite Lu Chun to sing a duet song to enrich the content of this mini-album. Qin Hanyang said sincerely, "Originally, this matter should be handled by the company. It's just that the company considered our personal relationship, so they let us discuss it ourselves. Of course, the price of the song will be as high as it should be." Lu Chun understood, thought for a moment, and said, "That's no problem. Can I give it to you 2 days later?" Sister Na smiled and said, "Of course, no problem. We are most confident in the songs you write. It will definitely not be bad." Lu Chun smiled. After chatting for a while, Lu Chun borrowed a guitar from Qin Hanyang and went out to perform on stage. He played and sang Love in the Wind, Beauty, and The Bright Times of Youth. The 3 new songs gave the new and old customers in the bar a great surprise, and the cheers and applause have not stopped. The next morning, Lu Chun sent Wu Hongming and the other 2 to the high-speed train back to Shanghai City. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he received a text message from the bank. There were 650,000 more in the account. Chapter 70. Friday, June 5th, sunny. Near noon, Lu Chun walked out of the Binhai high-speed railway station. The dazzling sun shone on his face, making his eyes involuntarily squint and his mood soar. Thanks to the modern, developed high-speed railway system, in just 5 hours, Lu Chun returned from the capital to his hometown, which he had been away from for nearly a year, a small town on the coast of eastern Zhejiang. Binhai City is a county-level city with a population of more than 1 million. The regional administration belongs to the Hangwen area, which is more than 200 kilometers away from the provincial capital, Hangzhou. Lu Chun was born and grew up here until he was admitted to Jianghai University. Originally, he wanted to go home on the 1st because he had to go back to Jianghai University to attend the graduation ceremony on the 9th. However, because he was preparing a new song for Sister Na and the Bionics, he was delayed in the capital for a few more days. Several songs of the Bionics have entered the formal production stage. As a songwriter, Lu Chun took the opportunity to participate in the process of arrangement and production and put forward a lot of his own suggestions. Arrangement is Lu Chun's biggest weakness, so such an opportunity is very rare for him to learn a lot. And if the new song can be successful, it will be a good start for him to enter the mainstream circle of pop music. On the other hand, Lu Chun will also release his own album. It is good to know the production process in advance, not to mention that he has a good personal relationship with Sister Na and Qin Hanyan. Out of the train station, he took a taxi to the city's Dongping district. Dongping district is one of the earliest districts in Binhai City. It is also the location of the staff dormitory of the Municipal Finance Bureau, State Taxation Bureau, and Local Taxation Bureau. Lu Chun's mother, Fang Yun, and sister, Lu Shui, live there. Fang Yun is an accountant in the Binhai State Taxation Bureau. After the Lu family's accident, her original house and car were sold. She moved to the staff dormitory in Dongping District to save money. When he got out of the car at the gate of the district, Lu Chun did not go home immediately, but ran to the bank not far from the district. At the VIP customer window of the business department, he took out his bank card and ID card and stuffed them in. "Hello, I'm here to withdraw money. I made an appointment yesterday." 5 minutes later, Lu Chun left the bank with his heavy backpack and returned to Dongping District. Fang Yun lived in room 201 of Block 7. Although Lu Chun didn't spend much time here, this small home also brought him a lot of warm memories. Seeing that he was getting closer and closer to home, his footsteps became especially light. However, when Lu Chun walked to the front of Block 7, he suddenly noticed that the car parked next to the green belt looked very familiar. He took a closer look at the license plate number and suddenly had a bad feeling. Frowning, Lu Chun sped up the stairs and soon arrived at the door of room 201. The door was unlatched, so the voices in the living room could clearly be heard by him. "There's nothing we can do. We've been in debt for so long. If it wasn't for our Wenkong wanting to buy a house, we wouldn't have come here. We're all relatives. You can't let us." After listening to a few words, Lu Chun couldn't listen anymore. He pushed the door open. Bang! The security door hit the wall and made a loud noise. This dormitory had a layout of one bedroom and one living room. The room was very old. The living room, bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom all added up to no more than 30 square meters. The small living room could barely accommodate a sofa and a small desk, so it looked very simple and cramped. When Lu Chun broke in, his mother, Fang Yun, was standing in front of the desk with an expressionless face. A middle-aged woman with a rich appearance was spitting at her and pointing at her. A middle-aged man with a dull look was sitting on the sofa, smoking with his head down. On his right was a young man in his 20s, wearing a t-shirt and jeans, with a messy haircut, a shiny silver earring hanging on his left ear, and an unruly look on his face. The sound of the door knocking made everyone look at Lu Chun. "Little Chun." Fang Yin was surprised and happy. She quickly came over. "When did you come back?" Lu Chun smiled and said, "Mom, I just came back." He turned his face, and his expression became extremely cold in an instant. "Uncle, Aunt, you're all here?" The middle-aged man sitting on the sofa was Lu Chun's uncle, Fang Yuanzhou. The one who just scolded Fang Yun was his aunt, Lin Ru, and the young man with the earring was Lu Chun's cousin, Fang Wenkong. Little Chun is back." Fang Yunzhong stood up a little bewildered and said, "It's good to be back." Lin Ru was stunned at first, and then said disdainfully, What's good about it? If you have the ability to make money, bring it back and pay off the debt you owe our family first. Fong Wenkong sat on the armrest of the sofa and looked at Lu Chun with sarcastic eyes. Fong Yun's face was angry. She was about to speak, but she was stopped by Lu Chun behind her. Lu Chun asked lightly, "Aunt, I don't understand what you're saying. When did our family owe you money?" Lin Ru's face was distorted as if she had heard something fantastic. "What did you say? Your Lu family doesn't owe us money? It's written on both white and black papers." She took out a few pieces of paper, shook them hard at Lu Chun, and cried, "Do you still want to renege on the debt?" Lu Chun suppressed his anger and asked, "If I remember correctly, this is a shareholding agreement, right?" When the Lu family's business was booming, Lin Ru was jealous and urged Fong Yuanzhong to ask Fong Yun for some shares in the Lu family's new factory. In addition to getting dividends, she also wanted her son, Fong Wenkong, to work in the factory. The new factory was still profitable at first, and the dividends were given to the Fong family. However, after the outbreak of the international financial crisis, Lu Qingxing's business was hit hard. The bank demanded repayment of the loans, which eventually led to the capital chain being broken and the company going bankrupt. Although Lu Qingxing died, he left a huge debt to his family. In addition to the bank loans offset with fixed assets, he still owed millions to his relatives and friends. Fong Yun bore all these debts. It was natural to pay off debts, and there was nothing to say. However, the Fong family signed a shareholding agreement, and the dividends they had taken in the past had exceeded the shares. After the factory closed, they still had to ask Fong Yun to return the shares and pay back the money. There was no reason at all. Lu Qin knew that his mother had paid back some money to Lin Ru, and the relationship between the Lu family and the Fong family had become very cold. He didn't expect that the Fong family would come to their house today to force Fong Yun to pay back the debt. It was the best. How could Lu Chun not be angry? If you want money, then go to the court to sue. Now, get out of here. It was impossible for the court to support such a debt. How could Lin Ru not know? She was choked by Lu Chin's harsh words, and the muscles on her fat face twitched. She suddenly grabbed Fong Yuanzhong and howled. "Fong Yuanzhong, say something. Are you just going to watch your nephew bully your wife? Are you dead?" Fong Yuanzhong frowned and let Lin Ru beat him. He looked at Fong Yun helplessly. "Little Yun, how can you talk to my mother like that?" Fong Wenkong jumped up and rushed to Lu Chin aggressively. "F***ck your mother. You're looking for a beating." The living room was instantly thrown into a state of chaos. Lu Chun saw Fong Wenkong reach out to grab his chest. He dropped his backpack and did not dodge. At the moment when the other party's claws were about to touch his body, he suddenly raised his left hand and grabbed it. Pa! The next moment, a heavy slap landed on Fong Wenkong's face. Fong Wenkong was caught off guard and was directly stunned. Lin Ru also stopped crying and was stunned. Lu Chin's face was cold. He pushed Fong Wenkong away with his left hand and said in a deep voice, "Fong Wenkong, if you want to die, just say it. I will fulfill your wish." This kid used to be like a dog in front of him, but now he dared to insult his mother. Lu Chun wanted to kill Fong Wenkong. This slap was too light. Fong Wenkong was almost pushed to the ground. He covered his red and swollen face and came to his senses after a while. Then he howled like a pig being slaughtered. "Damn it, Lu Chun wants to kill me." Lin Ru was so angry that her nose was crooked. She screamed, "Fong!" She didn't know why, but the cold look on Lu Chin's face made her subconsciously feel a trace of fear, so she wanted to instruct Fong Yuanzhong to come forward and teach Lu Chin a lesson. She didn't dare to do it herself. "Enough!" Fong Yun shouted. She was disheartened and said to Fong Yuanzhong, "Brother, I will call you brother for the last time. I will find a way to return the money to you in the future. You can go." The greatest sorrow was the death of the heart. Fong Yuanzhong didn't dare to look at Fong Yun's eyes. His lips moved, but he couldn't speak. "There is no need to do it in the future." Lu Chin picked up the backpack on the ground and suddenly unzipped it. "Return it now." Chapter 71. The backpack that Lu Chan carried was very ordinary. It was something that could be bought online for a few tens of dollars. However, it was this kind of backpack that was filled with stacks of $100 bills. All of them were neatly sealed with bank tape, and the red color was particularly dazzling. When he pulled open the zipper, the living room was silent. Linru stopped shouting and looked straight at the backpack full of bills. Fong Wukong covered his face and was stunned, with a funny look that his jaw had dropped. Lu Chen's family education had been very good since he was a child. Fong Yun had always been strict with him. It was only after he went to college in Hangzhou that she stopped controlling him. Therefore, even when the Lu family was at its best, he had never done any ridiculous things like a rich playboy. However, at this moment, Lu Chan wanted to take out the money in his backpack and smash it hard on their faces. He didn't mean to pay back the money at all, but he knew his mother's character very well. "Tell me, how much more money do you want?" Lin Ru swallowed her saliva and squeezed out a fake smile on her fat face. She didn't even care that Lu Chun had just slapped her son. She asked, "Little Chun, where did you get so much money?" There were at least hundreds of thousands of yuan in this backpack, and it was possible to get millions of yuan. The Lu family used to be rich, but it was not easy to come up with so much money at one time. What's more, the current Lu family was not even as big as an ordinary family. She was dazzled by the stacks of 100 yuan bills. She was very curious and greedy. Lu Chen said faintly, "You can also rob a bank. Aren't you the best at it?" After eating Lu Chen's 2 words of ridicule, Lin Ru felt embarrassed no matter how thick-skinned she was. Her face sank in an instant. "You're really promising. Then give us back our money first." "You don't have our money." To everyone's surprise, Fong Yuanzhong, who had been silent all the time, suddenly broke out at this time. His face turned red, and he suddenly grabbed the shareholding agreement in Lin Ru's hand. Then he tore it into pieces and roared, "The Lu family doesn't owe us, let alone you, Lin Ru." Lin Ru was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Even in her dreams, she had never imagined that her honest and cowardly husband would do such a drastic thing. Not only did he shed all pretense of cordiality with her, he even tore up the investment agreement. Without this agreement, how was she going to extort money from the Lu family? Fong Yuanzhong ignored her. The haggard middle-aged man said to Fong Yun guiltily, "Xiaoyan, I'm sorry. We won't bother you anymore." With that, he turned his head and strode out the door. Lin Ru came to her senses and screamed, "Fong Yuanzhong." She really had the intention to eat her own husband alive. Fong Yuanzhong completely ignored her and left the Lu family without looking back. Lin Ru and Fong Wukong were completely dumbfounded. Lu Chen was also a little surprised, but not too surprised because he knew that his uncle was still a good person, but he was too cowardly. He was usually treated like a grandson by his aunt, Lin Ru, and had no status at home. If Fong Yin didn't want to embarrass her eldest brother too much, why would she agree to Lin Ru's shameless request? And Fong Yuanzhong's outburst now should be because he still had a conscience and had not completely extinguished family affection. He zipped up the backpack again and said to Lin Ru indifferently, "Aunt, since Uncle has left, we won't keep you for lunch." "I'm really sorry." Fong Wukong cried. "Want to drive us away? Pay off the money first." He wanted to grab the backpack from Lu Chen's hand. Lu Chen sneered and said, "I don't know what you're talking about. Are you still dreaming?" The invalid agreement was torn up, and Fong Yuanzhong had left. How could he pay back the money? Lin Ru was also very unwilling, but when she saw Lu Chen's look, she knew that she would be humiliated if she continued to pester him. Maybe Fong Wukong would be beaten, so she took her son and left the Lu family in disgrace. This debt had to be settled with Fong Yuanzhong first. After driving away the 2 disgusting people, Lu Chan felt that the air in the room was much fresher. He smiled and said to Fong Yun, "Mom, what shall we eat for lunch? I'm starving." Fong Yun sighed and said, "Little Chun, don't blame your uncle. Your uncle had no choice." Lu Chen nodded and said, "I recognize my uncle. As for those 2, if they dare to come again, you can call the police directly." Fong Yun smiled bitterly and said, "I know." Lu Chun knew that his mother was soft on the outside, but hard on the inside. If it weren't for Fong Yuanzhong, she wouldn't have been bullied by Lin Ru. He handed the backpack in his hand to Fong Yun and said, "Mom, here's 1,000,000 yuan. I'll accompany you to pay back the money in the afternoon." Fong Yun used to pay back the money in cash, and she personally went to the homes of those relatives and friends to pay back the money in person. She used this way to show everyone that the Liu family would not run away from the debt, and the debt would be there. Liu Qingsheng was a righteous and trustworthy person when he was alive. So many people were willing to lend him money. Although he was now gone, Fong Yun would not discredit him and the Liu family. Many relatives and friends took out their life savings, and this debt represented a heavy responsibility. Fong Yun took the backpack and asked incredulously, "Where did you get so much money?" She was very surprised when Liu Chun transferred 300,000 yuan to her before. She didn't expect that he would bring another million today. Did he really rob a bank? Liu Chun smiled and said, "I'll tell you slowly. Anyway, I earn it cleanly." The 1 million yuan was all earned by Liu Chun from Whale TV. 650,000 signing bonus plus 200,000 PK bonus plus 150,000 reward commission, and he still had 150,000 in his bank account. A few days ago, Liu Chun wrote a new song for the Bionics, and 150,000 was a discounted friendship price. As they were talking, the door of the room was pushed open. "We're back." With a clear shout, a young woman in a white dress and a girl in a yellow shirt came in one after another. The former was carrying a lot of plastic bags in her hand, and the bags were filled with fresh fruits and vegetables. "Brother." Seeing Liu Chun standing in the living room, the girl in the yellow shirt first blinked, then shouted and rushed to him. Liu Chun smiled and opened his arms, holding the other in his arms. The girl in the yellow shirt was Liu Chen's sister, Liu Shui, and the woman in the white dress was his sister, Liu Shi. Liu Chun and Liu Shui had a very good relationship. He loved his sister very much. After a year, he was naturally very surprised in his heart. "You've gained weight." "How could I gain weight?" Liu Shui wrinkled her nose and jumped down from Liu Chun and said coquettishly, "Mom, brother bullied me." Fong Yun touched Liu Shui's head and asked Liu Shi, who looked indifferent, "Little Shi, why are you here?" Among the three siblings, the elder sister, Liu Shi, was like Liu Qingsheng in both appearance and temper. Liu Shui and Fong Yun were almost the same, and Liu Chun was a combination of the advantages of both parents, tall and handsome. Liu Shi was a little stubborn. She didn't get along very well with Liu Chun before. She said lightly, "Xiao Xue called me and said that uncle and the others came to make trouble again." Liu Shui stuck out her tongue, looked around and asked, "Where are uncle and the old witch?" She called Lin Ru an old witch. After the other party came, Fong Yun sent her out to buy vegetables to hide from trouble. Liu Shui was worried that her mother would suffer, so she called Liu Shi. The two sisters came back at the same time, but they didn't expect Liu Chun to be there. "That's your aunt." Fong Yun snappily flicked her head and said, "Children are not allowed to be rude. Uncle and the others are gone." "That's great." Liu Shui clapped her hands with a smile and said, "It's great that our family is reunited." She reached out to Liu Chun and said, "Brother, what gift did you buy for me?" "I don't want it." Liu Chun couldn't help laughing. He opened his suitcase and took out the laptop he had bought in the capital. Liu Shui was overjoyed. "Is it for me?" Liu Shi frowned and said, "Xiao Xue will take the college entrance examination next year. Why did you buy her a computer? Even if you can make money now, you have to save money. Our family still owes a lot of debts." Liu Chun said, "Sister, I can pay off the family's debts in 2 years at most." Liu Shi sneered. "Keep bragging." Chapter 72. Liu Shi didn't believe Liu Chen's words at all, because she knew very well how much debt her family needed to pay off. Under normal circumstances, it might take the family a lifetime to pay off the debt, and they had to work very hard to make money. Unless there was a miracle or they won the lottery. Liu Shi never bought lottery tickets. She never pinned her hopes on illusory luck. Fong Yun hesitated for a moment and said, "Little Shi, Little Chun just brought back 1 million yuan. He earned it by singing. He didn't talk nonsense. No one knows a son better than a mother. She was the flesh that fell from her body." Fong Yun understood Liu Chen's thoughts very well. Liu Chun wanted Liu Shi to continue her studies. "Mom." Lu Shi's eyes widened in disbelief, and she said, "Why are you talking nonsense to him? He earned 1 million yuan by singing. When did Lu Chun become a big star? It was a fantasy." However, at this time, Lu Shi suddenly remembered that Lu Chun had remitted 300,000 yuan to her family not long ago. She couldn't help closing her mouth. "Wow!" Lu Shui cried out and worshipped. "Brother, you're so awesome." She had 100% trust in Lu Chun. The most important thing was that Lu Chun could make so much money, so there was no problem in giving her this beautiful laptop. Well, let's not talk about this now. Fang Yin didn't want to embarrass her eldest daughter, so she said, "Little Shi, help me cook." Lu Shi was very stubborn, so it was better for mother and daughter to communicate in private. Fang Yin took Lu Shi to prepare lunch. Lu Chun took clothes from the suitcase to take a bath, and Lu Shui played with a new computer happily. The small home was filled with a warm atmosphere of reunion. Plate after plate of steaming hot and fragrant dishes were served on the table. Although there weren't any delicacies such as fish and meat, Lu Chin ate with great relish because this was the taste of home that he couldn't taste anywhere else. When they were almost done, Lu Chin asked, "Sister, do you have a financial broker's license?" Among the 3 children of the Lu family, Lu Shi was a well-deserved top student. When she took the college entrance examination, she failed 2 subjects because of a bad cold. Otherwise, she could have gone to Beijing University and Tsinghua University. Then Lu Shi did not retake the exam. She went directly to Shanghai University to study finance. She was preparing to go to Beijing University after graduation. However, she gave up further studies because of her family's changes. Lu Chin knew that she had obtained a lot of professional certificates during her college years, so he asked. Lu Shi said, "Yes, what do you want to do?" After Fang Yun's persuasion and explanation, her attitude towards Lu Chun finally improved a lot. It's just that the previous prejudice is not so easy to reverse. Lu Chun talked about the process of negotiating a new contract with Whale TV and finally said, "I originally wanted a signing fee of 1 million, but after talking about it, it became 650,000. I couldn't put down my face." Lu Shi was surprised. "You mean you talked about a contract of 1 million to 650,000? Lu Chin nodded with a wry smile. Things were not that simple, but in order to persuade Lu Shi, he was willing to take the blame. "Why are you so stupid?" Lu Shi was angry. "You don't even know that you were sold. 1,650,000. There was a difference of 350,000. How long would you need to work hard to earn this money?" Lu Chun took the opportunity to say, "So, I want to invite you to be my agent. In the future, I will let you negotiate contracts on my behalf. I'm going to open a studio in Beijing, and I need someone to help me." He really needed a reliable agent, and he really wanted to open a studio. Although several entertainment media companies have looked for Lu Chun and wanted to sign him. But after serious consideration, Lu Chun gave up the conventional way of signing a contract, training, debut, publicity, and hype to become famous. Because there were great restrictions on his personal and rights. His idea was to open a personal studio so that he could cooperate with any company or individual, maximize his own interests, and have the power to make decisions freely. Nowadays, many big shots in the entertainment industry have opened studios for the same reason. Although Lu Chun was still unknown compared to them, he had the wealth of a world. With those precious memories, only others would beg him in the future. Of course, these were Lu Chin's preliminary ideas, and there was still a lot of work to be done. Inviting Lu Shi to be his agent was the first step he had taken. But Lu Shi was not so easy to be persuaded. Entertainment agents and financial agents are different. Lu Chun smiled and said, "Bargaining and negotiation are all the same. With you to help me, maybe we can pay off the debt in a year. Moreover, you can also take the postgraduate entrance examination and be a part-time agent when you come to Beijing." The postgraduate entrance examination of Beijing University was in mid-August, and Lu Shi could make it in time to prepare now. Lu Shi said suspiciously, "Why do I feel that you are setting a trap to fool me?" She was not a fool. How could she not hear Lu Chin's intention? Although she said so, the look in Lu Shi's eyes showed that she was really moved. Lu Chin smiled and didn't say anything. Fang Yun said, Little Shi, go and help little Chun. You said that he will be a star and sing in the future. The entertainment circle is so chaotic. I can rest assured if you are around little Chun to supervise and manage him. Lu Shui swallowed the food in her mouth and shouted, Brother, I support you to be a star. Big stars like in Su, Yang, and Wang Yuan fan. Fang Yin knocked her on the head with chopsticks and said, Eat carefully. Don't interrupt when adults are talking. I'm 17 years old. I'm an adult. Lu Shui muttered, but still obediently buried her head in the food in her bowl. Lu Shi finally made a decision. Well, I'll try. Hearing this, Lu Chun and Fang Yin smiled at the same time. Lu Shi said to Lu Chun, Don't be complacent. I'll take good care of you when we get to Beijing. Lu Chun's smile suddenly turned into a wry smile. But this was a good start, wasn't it? After dinner, he followed Fang Yin and carried a backpack full of money to pay off his debts. Lu Qingsheng owed a lot of debts. Among these people were his relatives, friends, comrades, former colleagues, and business partners. The number was quite large. When Fang Yin paid off her debts, as long as the other party was in Binhai City, she would visit them in person. It was the first time that Lu Qian went with her to pay off money, so he deeply understood his mother's difficulty. Fortunately, these creditors were very reasonable. Whether they were relatives or friends, they did not embarrass the two. Instead, they were very enthusiastic. Many people said they were not in a hurry, and they were all very interested in Lu Chun. Little Chun has grown up. Little Chun is very handsome. Where do you work? Does Little Chun have a girlfriend? Little Chun is good. After running all the way and paying off all the 1 million, Lu Chun's face was stiff from smiling, and the sky was dark. He lived at home for 3 days and took the high-speed train to Hangzhou on the afternoon of the 8th. Binhai City was only more than 200 kilometers away from Hangzhou. It took 40 minutes to get there by high-speed train, and then transfer to the subway at Hangzhou Station to go directly to the station of Jianghai University. It was very convenient. Looking at the familiar school gate, Lu Chun had a feeling that it was a lifetime ago. As soon as his junior year was over, he applied to the school for social practice in advance and went to work in Beijing. As a result, he took a completely different path in life. After a year, Lu Chun was going to say goodbye to this campus that had left him with countless memories, countless beautiful, sad, moving, enthusiastic. At this moment, he was a little unable to take a step. Third brother. Suddenly, someone behind Lu Chun patted him on the shoulder hard. Lu Chun couldn't help but turn his head and saw a big and burly man with a stubble beard looking at him with a smile, and said, I saw you from afar just now. I was right. Boss. Lu Chun was very surprised. When did you come back? This burly man was his classmate, Gao He, a native of Ji City, Chilu Province. He was also one of Lu Chun's 3 roommates in the same dormitory. He was the eldest according to age and had always had a good relationship with Lu Chun. Gao He smiled and said, I just came back. Let's go back to the dormitory together. I don't know if Old K and Old C have arrived. Of course, Lu Chun had no objection. The two talked and laughed as they walked towards the dormitory building. Chapter 73. Gao He is a very typical Chilu man. He is 195 meters tall. He is the main center of the computing department basketball team. He is straightforward and generous. He has a good temper and is easy to get along with. He looks a little mature. Gao He sleeps in Lu Chun's lower bunk. On the way to the dormitory, Lu Chun asked, Where's sister-in-law? Are they back yet? Gao He's girlfriend, Wang Xiaoling, is in the same Chinese department. She is petite and exquisite. They are often called Beauty and the Beast together. When she was a freshman, she held hands with Gao He. However, Gao He looked gloomy and said, Split. Lu Chun was shocked. What's going on? For Wang Xiaoling and Gao He to fall in love, Lu Chun could be regarded as half a matchmaker. He knew that the relationship between the two had always been good. Although graduation season was the breakup season in college, Lu Chun thought they could continue. Gao He said with a wry smile, I found a job in Ji City. Wang Xiaoling wants to stay in Hangzhou. You know the current housing price in Hangzhou. The money to buy a bathroom is enough for me to buy a suite at home, and my parents also need me to take care of them. Lu Chun was silent. Hangzhou's economy had been developing very fast in the past 10 years. While it had brought prosperity, it had also brought high prices. In particular, the housing prices had been rising steadily, and their increase had always been among the highest in the country. It was basically an extravagant hope for ordinary working-class people to buy a house here. Gao He's family is ordinary, and he is also the only son in his family. The love in college can't beat the reality after all. He could only pat Gao He on the shoulder to comfort him. On the contrary, Gao He was very open-minded and said, "I'm fine. I've been mentally prepared for this for a long time." Third brother, how are you doing in the capital? Have you found a new girlfriend? Lu Chen smiled and said, "It's not bad. I was lucky enough to earn some money. As for a girlfriend, I don't want to think about it for now." Gao He knew the situation of Lu Chen's family and was happy for him. "Are you planning to develop in Beijing for a long time?" Lu Chen nodded. "Yes. Come to Beijing to find me when you're free. G City is very close to Beijing." Gao He smiled and said, "When you become a local tyrant, then I will definitely lead a team to fight against local tyrants." Lu Chen laughed. As they chatted and laughed, the two arrived at the university dormitory. The door of the 405 dormitory was half open. Gao He guessed, it must be old K and old C coming back. He pushed the door open and shouted, "The police are checking the room." Sure enough, there were already two people in the dormitory. One was lying on the bed, playing with his phone, and the other was sitting at the table playing games. The two were shocked by Gao He's beast-like roar. Lu Chen followed them in. "This is a robbery. Please hand over your bank cards, transportation cards, and meal cards." The one who played with the phone was Old K, whose real name was Wan Hongji. He was from Xiangbei, and he was the second oldest among his four roommates. However, he couldn't accept the term second oldest, so he changed it to Old K, the second in the playing cards. Zhou Rui, Lao Si, who was playing computer games, was a native of Hangzhou. He was thin and small, and had an unattractive appearance. After being frightened, he wanted to cry, but had no tears. "Boss, the boss is going berserk. It's going berserk." He had been in a party to fight the boss. He had lost control of the rhythm of the battle, and had instantly sent the boss into a berserk state. And then the whole team was annihilated. Gao He, Lu Chen, and Wan Hongji laughed. Zhou Rui was scolded by his teammates. He could only vent his anger on his three friends. "You wait." Lu Chen was just about to speak when the phone in his pocket rang. He picked it up and heard that it was Chao Xiuzhu who called. "Lu Chen, have you returned to school?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I just came back. What instructions does the class monitor have?" Chao Xiuzhu said, "It's good that you're back. Are you ready for the program? Tomorrow night's graduation party has been arranged. Don't drop the ball for me." Lu Chen said, "You can rest assured that I will do things. We can cheat others, but we can't cheat our class monitor." Chao Xiuzhu smiled and said, "You went to Beijing to learn to be poor. Well, that's it." After hanging up the phone, Gao He asked curiously, "Why is the class monitor looking for you?" Lu Chen explained, "Tomorrow night's graduation party. Let me perform on stage." Wan Hongji said with emotion, "It used to be a New Year's party. Now it's a graduation party. Time flies. Time is ruthless, and the days in the ivory tower always pass quickly. Many good things can only be left in memory." The 405 dormitory fell into a brief silence. Gao He asked, "Old K, Old C, what are your plans after graduation?" Wan Hongji said, "I know a senior brother who opened an IT company in Huhai and asked me to help him. I want to learn more things there, and then if there's a chance, I may emigrate." Among the four, Wan Hongji's academic performance is the best. It has always been his dream to go abroad through technical immigration. As for Zhou Rui, after graduation, I will go to the game department of Fading Company. I have already signed a contract. Although he wanted to speak calmly, he couldn't hide the sense of pride in his voice. Gao He wanted to beat someone. "Damn, Fading Company." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Congratulations." Fading Company is one of the top 3 internet companies in China. The famous Ebao and Yafobeo are under its banner. In addition, the game department is very strong. It has self-produced and acted as an agent for many popular online games. The key is that Fading Company is a local company in Hangzhou, and the treatment has always been one of the best in the industry. Zhou Rui is from Hangzhou. Of course, it is worth celebrating that he can work in Fading Company. Wan Hongji cried, "You have to treat me tonight." Zhou Rui hummed and said, "I have no problem treating you. If you're not drunk, you pay." Gao He patted his chest and said, "Drink with me. Don't go home until you are drunk." Lu Qin stood up and said, "Let's go to the Old Tavern." The Old Tavern is a long-established tavern. It is separated from Jianghai University by a civic square. It is said to have a history of hundreds of years. It is famous for its cheap and delicious dishes. Many students like to go there to have a sumptuous meal. Because the business of the Old Tavern is excellent, there will be no seats if they go late. The 4 people of the 405 dormitory rushed over before the meal time and finally occupied a table by the window. They ordered a few special dishes and then beer. A box of Jiangchao beer, which cost 2 yuan a bottle, was placed on the ground. There was no need for a glass. They opened the lid and directly drank from the bottle. After drinking 2 bottles, they began to drink water. They chatted about life and talked about the past period of their youth. Lu Qin drank 1 bottle after another. He drank more and talked less. Most of the time, he listened to his roommates talking about the girls in the next class, talking about the new counselors and female teachers, talking about the unattainable junior sisters, talking about their expectations for the future. The alcohol drowned his body a little bit, but it made his mood more relaxed than ever. Unfortunately, there is no banquet that never ends. After graduation, everyone will go their separate ways. The next time they meet may be at someone's wedding. At that time, when they recall this period of time, they will no longer have the same mood. A box of 12 bottles of beer. The 4 people of the 405 dormitory drank 4 boxes. From 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Zhou Rui and Wan Hongji went to the bathroom to vomit twice. He couldn't drink anymore. Zhou Rui struggled to pay the bill, and then was helped out of the Old Tavern by Gao He. Lu Qin and Wan Hongji could barely walk by themselves, but they couldn't walk in a straight line. So they supported each other and walked into the civic square. Although it was not a weekend, the civic square was still very lively. Uncles and aunts were dancing in the square, children were playing on roller skates, and couples were wandering together. In the wind of a summer night, who is singing a sad love song? Pedestrians in 2s and 3s were surrounding a wandering singer, listening to him sing an old song from the past. "Son of a bitch," Gao He scolded. "His singing is too bad. It's not as good as Old San's singing. Old San, you go and PK him. He was the best drinker." He drank 1/2 of the 4 boxes of beer, but he was also a little drunk. Zhou Rui shouted, "Sing, you must sing. Sing 2 more bottles." Lu Qin was drunk and said, "I'll sing." He shook off Wan Hongji, strode forward, and asked the wandering singer, "Friend, can I borrow your guitar and the venue? I'll sing a song for my brother." The wandering singer readily handed the guitar to Lu Qin. "No problem. Thank you." Lu Qin took the guitar and skillfully strummed the steel strings with his fingers to test the sound. The guitar was a very ordinary guitar. The tone was basically accurate, and it was connected to a self-powered speaker connected to a microphone. It was a very standard street singing equipment. Chapter 74. Facing the dusty microphone, Lu Qin let out a long breath of alcohol. He said, "I want to sing this song. First of all, to Gao He, our dormitory boss Gao. I hope he will always be so optimistic and open-minded. And then to all the people who have ever had ideals and dreams." Drunk, Lu Qin actually has a lot of words in his heart, but he doesn't want to say them, so he just sings. This song is for Gao He, for his friends, for everyone, and for himself. Good. Both Gao He and Wan Hongji applauded loudly. They didn't care what Lu Qin sang and whether he sang well or not. They just wanted to cry and laugh heartily and spend the last period of time before graduation. Tien, Lu Qin is a good singer. Many people in the public square noticed the movement here and came around to watch the excitement. Several of them were students of Jianghai University, pointing at Lu Qin and laughing. "Which senior brother is drunk and messing around here?" Lu Chen doesn't care. He played the guitar and began to sing along with the rhythm. Once dreamed of walking the world with a sword, seeing the prosperity of the world, the young heart is always a little frivolous. Now you are at home in the world. The girl who once made you feel sorry, now she has disappeared quietly. Love always makes you yearn and feel annoyed, once made you bruised all over. The drunk Lu Chen's singing is no longer so clear and clean, with a trace of sadness and vicissitudes of life. Low, and contains the power of the soul cry, which instantly attracted the ears of the people present. This is a song they have never heard before. Gaoyi didn't laugh anymore, because he was not drunk enough to hear the lyrics. Lu Chen's singing seems to be like a sledgehammer cast in copper and iron, hitting his heart again and again, making the nearly 2-meter-tall man bow and tremble involuntarily. The girl who once made you feel sorry, now she has disappeared quietly. Love always makes you yearn and feel annoyed, once made you bruised all over. Isn't it singing about him? The next moment, the singing suddenly became high-pitched and high-spirited. Dilla-lilla-dilla-data, 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 walking on the road of courage. Dilla-lilla-dilla-dilla-data, dilla-lilla-dilla-data, dilla-lilla-dilla-data, there was sadness and excitement. More and more people were attracted by the singing. At first, there were only a dozen or so people surrounding the area. Soon, there were hundreds of people, forming a large circle on the square. Lu Chen turned a blind eye to it. His mind was completely immersed in the mood of the song, expressing all the accumulated emotions through the song. Every moment of sadness, just to look at the sea alone. I always think of my friends who are walking by my side. How many are waking up? Let us drink this cup of wine. A good man's heart is like the sea. Having experienced the vicissitudes of life, the warmth and coldness of the world, the smile was warm and innocent. The huge square seemed to have become a stage for Lu Chen alone. All the clamor and noise had disappeared. Only his singing was reverberating, impacting, and shocking. Although he was holding a broken guitar worth hundreds of yuan in his arms, although he was facing a stained old microphone, although the quality of the amplifier was not good, but these do not damage the charm of this song. It is a memorial to the memory of youth and a declaration of no regrets for the past time. When it crosses the barrier of space and appears in this world, it can still move everyone. Let us drink this cup of wine. A good man's heart is like the sea. He has experienced all kinds of life and the warmth and coldness of the world. Whether it was Gaohi, Wan Hongji, or Zhou Rue, they all had a smile on their faces. Especially Gaohi. The breakup between him and Wang Xiaoling was like a thorn in his heart. Although he seemed to be laughing and laughing on the surface, as if he didn't care at all, only he knew the pain in his heart. Lu Chen's song made him feel relieved. No matter how many regrets they have had, no matter what they have lost, they have had sincere friendship, love, and the best time on campus. A real man should have a heart like the sea and be able to accommodate countless storms. When Lu Chen began to sing for the second time, the number of onlookers reached hundreds of people. Many people raised their mobile phones to take pictures of him, and more people listened quietly until he finished singing. In an instant, warm applause broke out quickly in the crowd, such as good singing, one more song, and so on, pushing the atmosphere of the scene to the climax. Many people took out the coins in their pockets and put them in the open guitar case on the ground. They all thought that Lu Chen was a wandering singer. Thank you, everyone. Lu Chen bowed to thank them, and then returned the guitar to the real wandering singer next to him. Thank you. The other party took the guitar in a daze. When Lu Chen turned and left, he woke up as if he had just woken up from a dream. He quickly asked, "Friend, what's the name of your song? Where can I download the score?" Lu Chen looked back and replied, "This song is called Once You. I wrote it myself." The wandering singer was stunned. He held his guitar and stared blankly at him as he walked away. Old 3, when did you become so powerful? On the way back to the dormitory, Gao, he couldn't help but ask, "Did you really write this song yourself?" Although he doesn't understand pop music very well, he can hear that this is a really good song. It's hard to believe that it was written by Lu Chen himself. Lu Chen said frankly, "Yes, I make money by singing in Beijing. Old 3 is really awesome, Wan Hongji said excitedly. I think he is very suitable to be a star. He is handsome enough, and he can sing and write songs. Zhou Rui cried. Good, he sings really well. Shall we drink a few more bottles? He hasn't sobered up yet. Lu Chun and the other two laughed, dragged Zhou Rui back to the dormitory, and then fell asleep. This night, Lu Chun has been dreaming. In his dream, he returned to the familiar and strange world, like a ghost wandering in the world, like a passerby walking in the secular world, watching the end of prosperity, watching the joys and sorrows of separation and reunion. Sometimes he is Su Bo, sometimes he is Mo Ran, sometimes he is Fong Mingyi the Chu. He doesn't know how much time has passed, but Lu Chun suddenly felt a strange itch in his nostrils, and he couldn't help but sneeze loudly, waking himself up. Lu Chun opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was a girl with a round face, round eyes, and a smile. She was still holding the small brush that Wan Hongji used to practice calligraphy in her hand. Lu Chun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Class monitor Chao Xiuzhu smiled and said, I can't wake you guys up by calling. Get up and eat breakfast. Lu Chun looked down and didn't know where Gao He and the other two had gone. He sniffed and said, Century egg lean meat porridge bacon burger, well, and fragrant soybean milk. Chao Xiuzhu was shocked. You can smell this? She took a burger and porridge and handed it to Lu Chun. Lu Chun smiled and said, You can go to KFC and work for a few months. You can smell it. Thank you, class monitor. He was not polite. He turned over and took the breakfast, sat on the edge of Gao He's bed, and ate directly. Washing up and eating will be done later. Chao Xiuzhu hesitated and sat down beside Lu Chun and said, Lu Chun, Wang Ying asked me to ask you how are you doing recently. She said that her uncle's company in Hangzhou is recruiting people if you, Chao Xiuzhu, deliberately sent Gao He and the other two away. She had something to say to Lu Chun alone. She always thought that Lu Chun and Wang Ying were a good match. No need. Lu Chun's appetite was gone in an instant. He put down the burger and said to Chao Xiuzhu, Class monitor, thank Wang Ying for me, but I have found a suitable job. Wang Ying was his ex-girlfriend. The two broke up after his father died. At that time, this incident was a big blow to Lu Chun. Chao Xiuzhu bit her lip and asked, Do you still hate her? It was Chao Xiuzhu who introduced Wang Ying to Lu Chun. The breakup of the two made her feel guilty all the time. Hate. Lu Chun shook his head and said, It's all in the past. I'm fine now. Really, I don't blame her. Just a passerby. Chao Xiuzhu took a deep look at him and said, Lu Chun, you have changed. Lu Chun smiled and said, People always change. He used to be young and frivolous. Now he has experienced the upheaval of his family and the life of drifting ants in the capital. He also has the memories of the vicissitudes of 3 lives in his dream. He has really matured. The only thing that has not changed is perhaps the blood in his heart. How about you and your family? What are your plans after graduation? He changed the topic and didn't want to talk about himself anymore. Chao Xiuzhu replied, We will stay in Hangzhou after graduation and get married after 2 years of stability. Congratulations. Lu Chun smiled and said, Remember to invite me to your wedding at that time. There were tears and laughter. Life is always like this. Note, once you lyrics/composer, Su Wei. Chapter 75. On June 9th, 2015, the 2011 graduation ceremony of Jianghai University was held in Heiliang Great Auditorium. Heiliang Wei Auditorium was donated by Heiliang Wei, the richest man in Macau and a patriotic businessman. The whole building was built in a Chinese-style architectural style, with large-scale and advanced facilities. The seats on the upper and lower floors could accommodate 6,500 spectators. Heiliang Wei is a famous gambling king. He owns a 7-star Macau hotel and 3 luxury casinos. His business scope involves gambling, real estate, logistics, entertainment, and other industries, with assets of more than 50 billion. The gambling king was born in a poor family. Before he finished high school, he ran to the street as a hawker selling fish eggs. Then, relying on his hard work and clever mind, he became an influential figure in Macau step by step and became a legend in the modern metropolis. However, the most interesting thing is not his struggle experience, but the gambling king's boundless luck with women. He Liangwei is unattractive, but he has 7 wives. In addition to the original wife, the other 6 include 4 Australian misses and 2 Xiangjiang misses. He has a total of 19 children. He can be called a real winner in life. In his old age, He Liangwei is very enthusiastic about charity. Every year, he donates more than 1 billion yuan in China, mainly to aid education and medical care. There are more than 100 buildings named after him, such as hospitals, libraries, auditoriums, laboratories, gymnasiums, and so on. Heliang Great Auditorium of Jianghai University was completed 2 years ago and ranks in the forefront of the similar buildings in domestic universities. At 9 a.m., the auditorium was already full. Lu Chun and Gao He were sitting in the back seat of the lower floor, surrounded by their classmates. Because there is a half-year social practice period in the senior year, many familiar students have not seen each other for a long time. Everyone was naturally very happy to reunite here, talking and laughing and greeting each other with concern. But thinking that they will go their separate ways after today, they can't help but feel sad and nostalgic. Lucien applied for social practice half a year in advance. It has been a year since he left school. Many students especially came to chat with him, asked him about his current situation and future plans, and also invited him to start a business together. Tien, Lu Chen's relationship in the university is still very good. Although not everyone likes him, there are many people who are willing to become friends with him. Of course, there are also people who don't like him. For example, the thin and tall young man who just came over had a teasing look on his face, and his tone was very annoying. Lu Chun, how are you doing in the capital? It's not easy living in Beijing, right? Do you earn enough money to eat? Zhang Jinping, no one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Before Lu Chun could answer, Gao He was angry. He abruptly stood up and looked down at the other party. Are you itching for a beating again? The tall and thin young man took half a step back and said resentfully, Gao He, don't bite Lu Dongbin. I asked Lu Chun because I want to help him. Next month, I will join EasyNet Company. Everyone is in Beijing, so we can take care of each other. EasyNet is one of the top 10 web portals in the country and is listed on NASDAQ in the United States. For the computer science graduates of Jianghai University, it is undoubtedly a good choice for employment. Therefore, when this thin and tall young man called Zhang Jinping spoke, he did not conceal his pride. EasyNet Company? Isn't that a famous pig farm? Zhou Rui said in a strange tone. Well, that really suits you. The owner of EasyNet Company spent a lot of money 2 years ago to open a modern and green pig farm. It is said that he lost tens of millions of yuan, so netizens called EasyNet a pig farm, and it has another meaning. Both Gao He and Wan Hongji laughed. Lu Chun also laughed and said, Zhang Jinping, I appreciate your kindness, but you should go back to your seat. Zhang Jinping is also a computer science major, but he is not in the same class as Lu Chun. This guy once pursued Wang Ying, but he was defeated by Lu Chun and became one of the many losers. Later, Lu Chun's family changed, and he broke up with Wang Ying. Zhang Jinping was the one who gloated the most. He made a lot of sarcasm to Lu Chun and always looked like a coward. He probably thought that today was the last chance to hit Lu Chun, so he deliberately came over to ridicule him. As a result, he was directly killed by Gao He and Zhou Rui, and he was also humiliated. Lu Chun will not be serious with the other party. When he was at his lowest, he didn't put Zhang Jinping in his eyes. Let alone now, Zhang Jinping still wanted to sneer at him. But when he saw Gao He's unkind eyes, he finally left resentfully. He was really beaten by Gao He before. What the hell? Zhou Rui said contemptuously. I heard that after Old San went to the capital, he also ran to chase Wang Ying. As a result, Wang Ying was too lazy to get rid of him. This time, I don't know who helped him get into the pig farm. Jianghai University is a key university in China. It has good exchanges with many well-known large enterprises. Every year, it will recommend a group of excellent graduates to these enterprises. Of course, Those who can be recommended by the school are not necessarily the best students. Wan Hongji quietly pulled him, and Zhou Rui suddenly came to his senses and closed his mouth. In front of Lu Chun, don't mention Wang Ying. Lu Chun didn't care. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about him. The ceremony has begun." In the majestic music accompaniment, the 2011 graduation ceremony of Jianghai University officially began. In the beginning, the school leaders gave a speech. The content was nothing more than recalling the past and looking forward to the future. After the leaders finished speaking, it was the speech of the representatives of the outstanding graduates. Everyone listened drowsily until the diplomas were handed out. Jianghai University implemented a credit system. If you have enough credits, you can graduate. Lu Chun muddled along in his freshman and sophomore years. In his junior year, he worked hard to save enough credits for graduation. Otherwise, he would have to give up on getting a graduation certificate and go to the capital to work in the senior year. Lining up to take the heavy red certificate from the principal, Lu Chun could feel the weight of it. Although Lu Chun may not use this certificate in the future, it represents the past he once had. The happy, the sweet, the sad, the painful, the hard past. After receiving the graduation certificate and changing into a bachelor's robe, everyone ran to the lawn to take graduation photos. One for the computer science group, one for the classmates, one for the dormitory brothers. The continuous clicking sound, accompanied by laughter, formed the main melody in the university at this moment. Put aside the sadness of parting. Please remember our college life. Don't forget 2015. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the graduation party was also held in the Liang Great Auditorium. Compared with the graduation ceremony during the day, the number of students who came to the graduation party was more. The auditorium with 6,500 seats had at least 8,000 plus people. Many of them stood in the aisles on both sides, and there were also some who sat together. Many people were not graduates of the 2011 class. They just came to watch the excitement and send off their seniors. The big stage for the performance was ready. The huge LED background screen constantly replayed the promotional video of Jianghai University. As the music sounded, the lights were turned on, and the two hosts of the party appeared first. Respected leaders, respected teachers, respected guests, and friends who care about the development of Jianghai University. Good evening, all the students of Jianghai University. First of all, let us use the warmest applause to say to the teachers who have paid countless efforts and sweat for our growth. Teachers, you have worked hard. With the cadence of the speech of the male and female hosts, Jianghai University's 2015 graduation party officially began. Warm applause sounded in the auditorium like a summer storm, dancing the melody of youth, fluttering the notes of youth, igniting the boiling enthusiasm, burning our dream of flying. We gather with a beautiful vision, full of joy. We are melancholy because we are about to leave. We meet in this colorful and gorgeous season. The eyes are full of emerald, bowing to touch the new green. Dear teachers, dear students, when we hear the cicadas in the summer, we usher in the last moment of separation. Tonight, nearly 10,000 teachers and students have gathered here, bringing with them a different kind of mood. When the host showed his eloquence on the stage, Lu Chun quietly came to the backstage of the auditorium. Chapter 76. Jianghai University's activities involving cultural performances are basically held in the Liang Great Auditorium. The scale of this auditorium is very large, and the backstage is also very spacious, with a director's room, dressing room, changing room, electronic room, props room, and even a shower room and a lounge. When Lu Chun came in, there were at least 100 or 200 people in the large dressing room, most of whom were students who were going to perform on stage. Many girls in beautiful costumes had put on makeup and gathered in twos and threes to chat and laugh. Lu Chun has participated in many cultural performances and is no stranger to the backstage of the auditorium. He found a seat in the corner and sat down calmly. He opened the guitar case and took out the guitar. While tuning, he practiced his hand. His performance in the evening is scheduled for 8:30, so it's still early. Lu Chun. Just as Lu Chun strummed the strings and hummed in a low voice, he suddenly heard a soft call from the side. Hearing this familiar voice, Lu Chun secretly sighed in his heart. He put down the guitar, turned around, and asked, "Wang Ying, long time no see. What's the matter?" In front of Lu Chun is a girl in a white dress. She is about 160 meters tall and well-proportioned. She has an oval face and willow leaf eyebrows. She has long hair and thin makeup. She is quite an outstanding beauty. Wang Ying, who studied in the Chinese department of Jianghai University, is also Lu Chen's ex-girlfriend. Lu Chen's indifferent tone made Wang Ying frown. She hesitated and asked, "Lu Chun, did Chao Xiuzhu tell you? My uncle's company in Hangzhou is recruiting people, and the position is very good." "I know. The class monitor has already told me." Lu Chun interrupted, "Thank you for your kindness, but I plan to develop in the capital, so thank you." Lu Chun. Wang Ying's eyes flashed a touch of displeasure, and her voice rose a notch. "Can you not be so stubborn? What future do you have in the capital? Even if you don't think for yourself, you have to consider the situation at home, right?" Her face showed an expression of exasperation at his failure to meet her expectations. Lu Chun smiled instead. "Wang Ying, it's been so long, but your temper hasn't changed? I don't think we have anything to talk about." Wang Ying was not angry. She asked thoughtfully, "Lu Chun, do you still hate me?" Lu Chun shook his head, got up, and said to Wang Ying, "I used to hate him, but now I have figured it out. I think even if nothing happened to my family, I'm afraid the two of us wouldn't have been together for long. Plus, I had my own problems back then, so no one needs to blame each other. When we meet again in the future, we'll still be classmates and friends." Wang Ying looked at Lu Chun in a daze. Such a rational and mature Lu Chun made her feel very unfamiliar, as if the person standing in front of her was another person. There's a sense of loss. After a while, she said in a daze, "All right then, goodbye." After that, Wang Ying turned around and left, not very willing. Lu Chun smiled. He was very clear about Wang Ying's thoughts. It was nothing more than to make up for the guilt of breaking up with him. But he had nothing better to do, staying in Hangzhou to get a very good job. As for the entanglement with Wang Ying, the past can't be recalled. Let the past be the past. Lu Chun just wanted to sit down again. Suddenly, he felt something was wrong and subconsciously looked to the right. Just a few steps away from him, there was a beautiful woman with bright eyes and white teeth. The aqua blue evening gown perfectly accentuated her graceful figure. A pair of insanely straight long legs were casually swaying. Her bright and spirited eyes carried a faint smile, and her exquisite picturesque face was pleasing to the eyes. She sat there quietly, but the light she emitted was enough to illuminate the darkest corner. Lu Chun couldn't help but be stunned. Su Xian. Su Xian was a very famous figure at Jianghai University. She was the department flower of the foreign languages department. She was a female top student who won a first-class scholarship every year. Moreover, she was versatile in singing and dancing. The number of pursuers was comparable to the number of carps crossing the river. Lu Chun knew Su Xian. Of course, there are not many people who didn't know her, but it was only limited to knowing her. He didn't expect that Su Xian would hide here alone. He didn't notice it just now. In Lu Chen's limited impression, Su Xian was always surrounded by a few attentive flower protectors. Su Xian blinked and said, "Lu Chun, I didn't mean to eavesdrop on you too." Lu Chun couldn't help laughing. "Sorry, there's nothing wonderful to disappoint you." Su Xian chuckled and immediately said, "To be honest, I feel that Wang Ying still has feelings for you." Lu Chun and Wang Ying, the couple who used to be in love, were also a little famous at Jianghai University. Maybe, Lu Chun said, it's all in the past. Su Xian understood that he didn't want to talk more, so she changed the topic. "It must be very difficult for you to develop in the capital, right?" She rarely talked to boys because there were too many crazy bees and butterflies. It was really troublesome to say a few more words and cause others to misunderstand. Tonight, in order to avoid those pursuers, she deliberately ran to the corner of the backstage. As a result, she accidentally saw a dialogue between a former couple. Su Xian had heard a little gossip about Lu Chun before and appreciated his performance just now. A man should have self-respect, self-improvement, and self-confidence. So she didn't mind chatting with Lu Chun for a few more words. Anyway, everyone will go their separate ways tomorrow. Lu Chun smiled and said, "It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort. I hope I can succeed." He asked, "What are your plans after graduation?" This sentence was probably the most asked among the students today. Su Xian said, "I'm going to Wharton Business School to study." "Wharton?" Lu Chun exclaimed, "Amazing!" Wharton Business School was the world's #1 business school. It was affiliated with the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. It had a history of hundreds of years and had trained countless business elites and economists. However, it was extremely difficult to enter Wharton Business School. Lu Chen's sister, Lu Shi, had longed for this famous school, but the reality was that her choice was still a domestic school like Beijing University or Tsinghua University. Su Xian was extremely beautiful, and her academic performance was so outstanding that Lu Chun couldn't help but admire her. Su Xian smiled and said, "Thank you. If you have the opportunity to come to Philadelphia in the future, remember to have tea with me." Lu Chun smiled bitterly and said, "I don't even have your contact information." Lu Chun didn't have the idea of pursuing her because he and Su Xian were undoubtedly people from two different worlds. However, they had a good chat now, so he mentioned it casually. Su Xian was very generous and directly gave Lu Chun her QQ number. "Private number, please don't give it to others." Lu Chun recorded it in his mobile phone. Su Xian got up and said, "It's almost my turn to go on stage. Goodbye, Lu Chun." Lu Chun also stood up and said goodbye, Su Xian. He knew that the two probably wouldn't have many opportunities to see each other again. There was a touch of regret in his heart. Such a beautiful girl. Even if they weren't a couple, it was a great fortune to be friends. Watching the figure of the other party disappear into the backstage, Lu Chun had just sat down when his buttocks just touched the surface of the chair. Chao Xiuzhu, the class monitor Chao, ran over gasping for breath and complained when they met. "Lu Chun, why are you hiding here? It took me a while to find you." Lu Chun was surprised. "What's wrong?" Chao Xiuzhu said, "Your performance has to be advanced. The 2 programs before you need time to prepare, so you were arranged to go on stage after the next program." Lu Chun said, "I'm going to faint." The university's gala was very random. Of course, large-scale programs had rehearsals and time arrangements in advance, but in case of an emergency, a solo program like his would have to go on stage. "Don't faint. I'm going to faint." Chao Xiuzhu was anxious. "Hurry up and get ready. Do you want me to help you with makeup?" "No need, no need." Lu Chun quickly said, "Help me send this to the director's room first, and wait for me to play on stage." He took out the USB from his pocket and handed it to Chao Xiuzhu. As early as last month, Chao Xiuzhu called Lu Chun and told him about Lu Chun's performance at the gala, so he made a music video early to accompany his performance. "No problem." Chao Xiuzhu took the USB and hurried to the director's room. Lu Chun exhaled. He turned around and looked at himself in the mirror of the dressing table. "I have to work hard." Chapter 77. Girls in rainbow-colored feather dresses walked briskly down the stairs leading to the backstage like butterflies. The relatively narrow space was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics that could make people's heart beat faster. These beautiful girls had just finished a dance performance, and the applause in the auditorium had not yet subsided. They were talking and laughing, and the sweat on their foreheads was mixed with gold powder, shining under the light of the wall lamps. Lu Chun, with his guitar, politely turned sideways and pressed his back against the wooden wall to make way for them. Several girls looked at Lu Chun curiously and kept walking past him, leaving a string of silver, bell-like laughter. On the stage outside, the host was announcing, "Thank you for the wonderful performance of the 24 beautiful girls just now. The next program is from the computer science application major, a male solo. His name is Lu Chun. Let's welcome him to the stage with applause." As soon as his voice fell, Lu Chun, who was already standing at the exit of the stage, immediately stepped forward and stood under the spotlight. Facing nearly 10,000 alumni and teachers at the scene, he showed a confident smile. After the baptism of the light blue music carnival, even in the face of a large audience, Lu Chun would not be nervous. He believed in his own song. Applause rang out. Although it wasn't very enthusiastic, many students still gave face to him. In particular, Lu Chun's classmates were desperately clapping their hands, and the loud whistling sound was very professional. Lu Chun was tall and handsome. His family used to be rich, but he did not have the kind of playboy of a rich family. Moreover, he was usually very willing to help others, so his popularity among his classmates has always been quite good. Many people knew about the changes in Lu Chun's family, and they also knew that he ran out early to work to make money. Their applause was their support and admiration for Lu Chun, because it was not easy to do what he did. In seat number 19 of the 37th row of Liang Great Auditorium, Wang Ying raised her hand and clapped twice, then immediately put it down. She stared at Lu Chun, standing in the center of the stage, and suddenly felt that the latter was very strange. The girl sitting next to Wang Ying quietly leaned over and asked in a low voice, "Why? Do you still miss him?" Wang Ying shook her head blankly. She didn't know what was wrong with her. They had broken up for so long, and the two of them had made it clear. But there was always an emotion lingering in his heart. The girl next door advised earnestly, "Don't think too much about it since we've already split up. What's the use of being handsome now? With your qualifications, you can totally find someone better than him. For example, that Chun Peng is very good." Wang Ying frowned and said, "He and I have already passed, and I didn't think much about it." The girl next door chuckled and said, "That's right. For us girls, finding a suitable husband is the most important thing. It's so tiring to work hard in society. The housing prices in Hangzhou are so expensive. It's not worth it to suffer with a handsome guy." Wang Ying listened to it in one ear and out the other. She didn't know where her mind had drifted. At this moment, Lu Chun was speaking into the microphone and said, "Thank you for your applause. The song I'm going to sing here tonight is written by myself, and it's the first time I'm singing it in public. I'll give this song to all the girls, all the junior sisters and senior sisters, because it's because of you that Jianghai University is a truly beautiful campus. I wish you will always be young and beautiful." There were countless laughter in the auditorium, and many girls applauded again, more enthusiastic applause. Most of the boys were envious, jealous, and hateful, and there was no lack of secretly cursing. Using original works to please girls? You're dreaming. If you don't sing well, you'll be booed off the stage. Let's see if you can act cool. Handsome guys, especially handsome guys who can play the guitar, are the most annoying. However, Lu Chun did not feel the resentment from the single people. He turned his head and gave a thumbs up to the director on the sidelines, indicating that he could start. After a while, the image of the new song's music video appeared on the huge screen behind Lu Chun. He gently plucked the strings and played the prelude, gently and softly. The first thing that appeared on the LED screen was the virtual scenery of Jianghai University, and then the silhouettes of girls accompanied by sketched flowers quietly appeared, setting off the 4 hand-painted artistic words, "Those flowers." That laughter reminds me of my flowers, quietly blooming for me in every corner of my life. I thought I would always stay by her side. Today we've left in the vast sea of people. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. La, miss her. La, is she still blooming? La, go. They've been blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world. A touch of sadness, a touch of nostalgia, a low singing about the past. Lu Chun's playing was simple and concise, but the beautiful melody and lyrics made this song have the power to hit the heart. Especially those girls. They looked at the familiar or unfamiliar photos that appeared in the music video on the big screen. Those were the memories of their youth, those running, hugging, jumping, playing. The past reappeared in front of their eyes, happy, sad, sweet, excited. They were about to graduate, about to be blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world. Some stories haven't been told yet, so let's forget it. Those feelings have been difficult to distinguish between true and false in the years. Now the weeds are overgrown here, and there are no flowers. Fortunately, I once had your spring and autumn, winter and summer. La, miss her. La, is she still blooming? La, go. They've been blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. The auditorium, which can accommodate thousands of spectators, was very quiet. There was no applause, no laughter, no talking. Everyone was listening to Lu Chen's singing. Some girls were already sobbing. The song aroused the romantic hope and the involuntary sadness in their hearts. Like dandelion flowers that bloomed unexpectedly in the right time and place, their souls seemed to be lost along with the fluttering flower catkins and could never be recovered. Lu Chen played and hummed. Memories surged. The flower that left the most profound mark in his life was his senior sister, Wan. She appeared at the time when Lu Chen was at his lowest. At that time, his father had just passed away, and he broke up with Wang Ying. After experiencing great changes in his life, he was decadent and gloomy like a walking corpse. And Wan's appearance, like a bright sunshine, dispelled the darkness and haze in Lu Chen's heart. She used her tenderness to soothe Lu Chen's wounded heart, so that Lu Chen finally got rid of his depression and faced life again with a strong will. But Lu Chen couldn't keep Wan. After graduation, she emigrated to England with her family. Even Lu Chen's best friends didn't know about this relationship, and he didn't tell anyone. He had always suppressed it in his heart. Today, he sang this song here precisely for Wan. Her photo was also in the MV, smiling brightly. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. Unknowingly, Lu Chen's eyes were wet with tears. He had never sung so emotionally, and his voice was choked. In the audience, many girls had already burst into tears. They either sobbed alone or hugged each other to comfort each other, wantonly venting the emotions that were aroused in their hearts. Wang Ying bit her lips, and the look in her eyes was extremely complicated. Intuition told her that this song of Lu Chen was sung for his most beloved person. That person was not her. She was also moved by the song, but when she thought of this, her heart seemed to be bitten by a poisonous snake. Strong jealousy and pain, as if she had lost her most cherished treasure. The picture of the MV was finally fixed on a photo. On a drizzling afternoon, in the depths of the old streets and alleys, the silhouette of a gentle and moving woman holding a paper umbrella. The dense water vapor made the lens hazy, and it was impossible to capture her true face. But that beauty, like an orchid in an empty valley, was destined to become one of the most profound memories of all the witnesses. Lu Chen finished singing. He straightened his chest and said to the microphone, "Those flowers, thank you everyone." He wanted to thank all the flowers that appeared in his 22-year-old life. Because of their existence, life is wonderful. Note, those flowers lyrics/song, Pu Shu. Chapter 78. In Lu Chen's Dream World. Those Flowers was a classic created by a talented singer. This low-key, beautiful, and slightly sad folk song had touched countless people. It had been repeatedly sung by other singers and often appeared in school art parties. It could be called a graduation song. Although it was in a different space, the charm of this song did not fade in the slightest. It could easily evoke the feelings hidden deep in people's hearts, especially those who had loved, been in love, been hurt, and experienced the same parting. It naturally resonated strongly. So many girls were crying. The song was full of gentle memories and reverie, but in the end, it could not overcome the faint sorrow of parting. Just like that, we go our separate ways. And in Those Flowers, Lu Chen poured his most sincere feelings into it. He used the song to say goodbye to his youth in school. Those flowers, thank you everyone. Lu Chen bowed deeply. The applause suddenly exploded, like artillery fire on a battlefield, fierce and lasting. Many girls stood up. Their eyes were filled with tears, and they clapped their delicate palms hard. Even if they were red and painful, they did not care. The boys also stood up. Their way of expressing their feelings was more direct, which was to shout loudly. Well sung. Sing again. One more song. Soon, all the cheers and shouts turned into the simplest word. Charge. Charge. Without experiencing the baptism of social reality, most of these boys and girls retained simple and sincere feelings. They liked it, they were touched, and they would not be stingy with their praise and applause. Lu Chun straightened up and nodded. Thank you. He took a deep breath, then turned around and walked backstage. It was over. Charge! 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 However, the orderly shouting from below the stage did not disappear because of Lu Chen's departure. Instead, it became more intense and loud. That kind of high-spirited and surging momentum seemed to be able to overturn the dome of the auditorium. The man's voice was powerful, and the woman's voice was delicate. They completely merged into one voice. Charge! A few school leaders and teachers in the first 2 rows of the auditorium could no longer sit still. They stood up, turned around, and waved their arms to signal the students to quiet down and not disturb the performance. However, no one paid any attention to them. Their authority had already expired on graduation day. Many people looked at each other and did not know what to do. After all, it was rare for such a situation to occur in a school cultural performance. It was almost impossible to encounter such a situation. Even Lu Chen himself did not expect that. Just as he was about to walk down the stairs, the host of the evening party rushed over and stopped him. Lu Chen, come back and sing another song. The university students were all passionate and impulsive. If the atmosphere was not controlled, something big might happen. The host's face turned pale. All right. Lu Chen also realized the seriousness of the situation and quickly returned to the center of the stage. As he appeared again, the excited shouts quickly calmed down, but everyone was still standing. Lu Chen sorted out his thoughts and said to the microphone, "Thank you, everyone. Thank you for liking this song so much. Then I will sing another song for you. It is also a song that I wrote myself. I hope you like it. Its name is Song of Time." Warm applause rang out, as dense as rain falling on banana leaves. But in an instant, it disappeared completely, because Lu Chen began to sing. Time is slower than you, and the world is 1 year older. How can I not be anxious? Youth has fled. For so many years, you always say that meeting hasn't changed, but the photo remembers the young man's face. What hasn't changed is this infatuation. What has changed is this time. So many years of youth, never to return, and also met people who made me miss. This world is still this world, but it turns out that you and I are long gone. Playing the guitar casually, Lu Chen sang softly, using his voice to bring all the audience back to the past, to reminisce the beauty of the past, and to miss the people who came and went in their lives. This song had the same sentimentality as those flowers, but it was more nostalgic, just like the chorus. This time, shaking and shaking, this time, turning and spinning. This time, turning and spinning. This time, turning and spinning. Accompanied by Lu Chen's clear, clean, and slightly sad singing, an indescribable atmosphere enveloped the auditorium. Everyone unconsciously sat down again and quietly listened to him play and sing. It was also quiet backstage. The facilities in the auditorium were very advanced. There was a television screen in the backstage area, where one could watch the live broadcast of the stage. Almost everyone in the large dressing room was gathered in front of the screen. Chao Xiuzhu was one of them. She had just shed tears, and there were still sparkling tears in the corners of her eyes. She was not the only one who was crying. So many years of youth, never to return, and I've met people who make me miss. But what hasn't changed is this infatuation. What has changed is this piece of time. I want to sing a ballad of time for you, so that my youth won't grow old. I want to sing a ballad of time for you, so that my youth won't grow old. Our youth won't grow old. After playing the last part, Lu Chen did not thank him again. Instead, he quietly bowed and left the stage. Let everyone slowly savor the rest. This time, no one asked him to stay and return to the stage. because everyone was still immersed in the atmosphere created by the song. Lu Chen returned backstage smoothly. As soon as he came down, a figure suddenly pounced on him and hugged him. Lu Chen was shocked. He took a closer look and hurriedly shouted, Hey, class monitor Chow, don't hug indecent people. It was Chow Xiuzhu who hugged him. The female class monitor loosened her arms with red eyes and said, Lu Chen, you sang so well. I didn't know you were so talented. Lu Chen smiled and said, I'm a late bloomer. At this time, many people around Lu Chen surrounded him and clapped their hands at the same time. Whether it was those who were about to perform on the stage or those who had already returned from the performance, they paid tribute to Lu Chen with neat, warm, and sincere applause. Lu Chen was surprised and moved. He couldn't express it and could only say, Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Su Xian was also in the crowd. She was smiling and giving her blessings. At the end of the graduation party, when Lu Chen and Gao He returned to the dormitory, it was already 11:30. Everyone didn't speak and lay on their beds. This was their last night in college. Goodbye, my King youth. No one knew who shouted hoarsely, but it broke the silence of the night and came through the glass window, as if it was a wounded lone wolf. Goodbye, my college. Boom. There was a low sound of something exploding. Boom, boom, boom. This sound seemed to be contagious, spreading quickly like a plague. Gao He, who was sleeping on Lu Chen's lower bunk, suddenly turned over and stood up, and his head hit Lu Chen's bed board heavily. But this Chilu man didn't care at all. He picked up the hot water bottle on the ground, then pushed open the glass window, smashed the hot water bottle down, and shouted out of the window with all his strength, Wang Xiaoling, I love you. Come home with me. Lu Chen, Wan Hongji, and Zhou Rue looked at each other and were speechless to comfort him. Wan Hongji silently picked up his hot water bottle and followed Gao He down the stairs. Son of a bitch. Lu Chen laughed and immediately jumped out of bed. Let's smash it together. Hot water bottle, basin, toothbrush jar, trash can, textbook, the entire dormitory area of the university quickly became a crazy battlefield, and everyone threw everything that can be thrown out. The sounds of crashing, shattering, shouting, crying echoed in the empty night for a long time. This is our youth. When he couldn't smash anything, Gao He leaned over and pulled out a box of canned beer from under the bed. He grabbed a few cans of beer and threw them to Lu Chen and others. He opened one himself and said in a hoarse voice, The last night of college. We will open our eyes. No one will sleep. As soon as his voice fell, the door of the dormitory was pushed open. Appearing at the door, it was a petite girl with tears on her face. She sobbed and said, Gao He, I will go home with you. Patter. The beer can in Gao He's hand suddenly fell to the ground, and the mixed foam splashed out. Little by little, it splashed on his body. Note, Ballad of Time, lyrics/composer. Wang Fanrue, the lyrics have been slightly changed. Chapter 79. On June 10th, Lu Chen returned to Beijing. Waving away the melancholy of graduation, he cheered up and went on his way again. From now on, his identity is no longer a college student in the ivory tower, but a real fresh person in society. The road is long and far, and I will search up and down. At this moment, Lu Chen didn't know what was waiting for him in the future. He didn't know whether he was about to embark on a bright road covered with flowers or a dangerous path full of thorns. But he was fearless and full of expectations. Thursday, June 11th, overcast. Lu Chen came to the DeLong Building in the 4th Ring Road of Beijing. The DeLong Building is a 58-story office building located in the most prosperous financial and business district of the 4th Ring Road. Lu Chen came here twice some time ago and participated in the production of 2 singles by the Bionics in Tianjin Music Workshop on the 35th floor. Tianjin Music Workshop is very famous in the Beijing pop music scene. It was established 10 years ago, mainly engaged in music production and promotion business, with complete and advanced equipment and a group of excellent professionals. Many big names in the industry have produced their works through Tianjin Music Workshop. In order to launch the first shot into pop music, Light Ray Media put its first album in Tianjai Music Workshop. First in quality. Although Lu Chen's participation was not deep, he had a deep understanding of the strength of Tianjai Music Workshop. So he wanted to hand over his album to Tianjai to complete. The idea of making a solo album began to germinate when Lu Chen signed with Whale TV. Later, it was not until after the PK theme show that Yun Jing Music Network's editor Sui and discussed with him that he really made up his mind. Lu Chen wants to use this album as a stepping stone to enter the pan-entertainment circle. So he attaches great importance to it and takes it as the first major event after returning to Beijing. In the customer reception room of Tianjai Music Workshop, Lu Chen first met the other party's business representative. The business representative's surname was Ni, and she was in her 30s. She was a typical white-skinned woman in the workplace. Her makeup was exquisite, and she was well-dressed. Although the smile on her face was slightly professional, it did not make people feel neglected. Miss Ni spoke softly. "Mr. Lu Chen, this is our company's price list for music production, which includes 5 sets of ABCD. Of course, if you have special requirements, our company can also tailor-make it for you." Lu Chen nodded, took the price list, and looked at it carefully. The first 2 times he came to Tianjai Music Workshop, he was there to help, and he didn't inquire about the price. Now he had an eye-opener. This price list was specifically for album production, including all the costs of arrangement, recording, and post-production. Among the 5, the lowest E package was quoted at 100,000 yuan, and the highest A package was quoted at 1 million yuan. The difference was 10 times. Before coming to Tianjai Music Workshop, Lu Chen knew something about single and album production. Beijing is the center of the national cultural industry. There are countless entertainment and media companies. There are as many as millions of people in the entertainment-related industry. Big and small music studios, recording studios, and professional production companies are everywhere. If you just want to play and don't pay attention to quality, you can directly place an order online to commission the production of a personal album. And if you want to experience the feeling of recording in the studio, spending 1,000 or 2,000 yuan can also meet the needs. Of course, these are pure amateurs. If you really want to produce a high-quality single or album, the cost is very high. 10 or 20,000 yuan per song is the basic, and hundreds of thousands of yuan is not too expensive. You get what you pay for. So, although there are so many singers drifting in Beijing, many people have never released a real album in their lives. In addition to the song itself, the cost of production is the key, and there are also publicity and distribution later. If they can't sell it, they will lose money. As for the songs made for thousands of yuan, they can't find a channel at all, and it would be embarrassing to give them away for free. As a senior company in the industry, Tianjai Music Workshop is very professional. The price list lists the various costs included in the 5 packages in detail, so that people can see clearly. After reading it, Lu Chen was most satisfied with the C package, which has well-known arrangers and producers in the industry plus band accompaniment, high-level recording, and post-production. The price is 500,000 yuan, which is equivalent to 50,000 yuan for a song. It's not that the AB package is not as good as the C package, but the price of the AB package is not what Lu Chen can afford at all. Even if it's the C package, he can't afford it now. As for the 250,000 yuan D package and the 100,000 yuan package, compared with the C package, they are not very sincere. If you don't manage the family, you don't know the cost of daily necessities. Lu Chen secretly sighed. He held the price list and asked tentatively, "Miss and I, if I choose the C package, how much discount can your company give me?" He heard Qin Hanyang mention last time that he could bargain with the production company. Miss and I said sincerely, "Mr. Lu, I can give you a 95% discount at most with my authority. If you can ask our manager or director to sign it, the lowest discount is 10%. Lu Chen gave up when he heard this. Not to mention that he didn't know the manager and director of Tianjai Music Workshop at all, and even if he could get the other party's signature, a 10% discount would still cost 450,000 yuan. Lu Chen knows that if he doesn't come forward personally, but talks with an industry company like Light Rain Media, it is estimated that the price will be lower. Who told him to do it alone? As the saying goes, a big tree is a good shade. Although signing a contract with an entertainment media company will lose a lot of freedom and rights and interests, there are also many conveniences, such as production and distribution, there is no need to worry about, and publicity efforts. But Lu Chen doesn't regret his choice. He thought about it and said, "Then I'll think about it. Miss and I, can I take this price list with me?" Miss and I smiled sweetly and said, "Absolutely. If you have any questions, you can also ask me directly." Her business card was given to Lu Chen when they met. "Thank you." Lu Chen left Tianjai Music Workshop with the price list. In fact, for Lu Chen now, 450,000 yuan is really not too big a number. He can earn it over a period of time, or he can find a way to sell 2 songs. However, this involves another problem. That is, with such a large investment, can he earn back the cost? Lu Chen is not sure. He has made some achievements in online live broadcasting and has a large number of fans, but he is not even a newcomer in the entertainment industry. He is still an outsider and has no influence at all. Moreover, online albums also involve piracy. Online albums are sold at very low prices, but not many people are willing to pay for them, because free pirated resources can soon be found after the album is released. The same principle applies to Whale TV. Don't look at him having hundreds of thousands of fish powder. It's like a reward. Only a small number of people are really willing to pay for it. The album is 100% going to be released, but Lu Chen doesn't want to lose money, and he refuses to compromise on quality. That's very problematic. The idea is beautiful, but the reality is too cruel. With a tangled mind, he took the elevator down to the ground floor of the DeLong building. As soon as he stepped out of the elevator, a middle-aged man suddenly strode over and stopped Lu Chen. "Sir, are you going to make songs in Tianjai Music Workshop?" The middle-aged man, who was about 50 years old, was thin and wore a suit that was not very fitting, so it looked loose. He looked a little nervous when he spoke, and his eyes were more focused on the security guard in the hall, not far away. Lu Chen was stunned and asked curiously, "What can I do for you?" The middle-aged man breathed a sigh of relief. He immediately took out a business card from his pocket and handed it to Lu Chen with both hands. "I'm Wang Changsheng, manager of Nirvana Music Production Studio. Can we talk?" He spoke quite fast, with a trace of uneasiness and expectation. Nirvana Music Production Studio? Lu Chen thought about it and didn't have the slightest impression of it. He hesitated and said, "All right." He was mainly curious. There was a tea house on the first floor of the DeLong building. The two found a place to sit down and ordered a pot of tea. After sitting down, Lu Chen's first question was, "Manager Wang, how did you know that I was going to make songs in Tianjai Music Workshop?" The studio manager named Wang Changsheng pointed to the price list that Lu Chen had put on the table and said with embarrassment, "I saw this thing in your hand, so I came to try my luck." Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. Chapter 80. There are many music production companies in Beijing, and there are even more small studios. In the DeLong building alone, there are Tianjai Workshop, Golden Disc Culture, Sunshine Records, and other well-known music production units in the industry, and the competition between them is very fierce. Although Lu Chen's first choice for making a solo album was Tianjai Workshop, the latter was not the only choice. He didn't expect that there would be a small studio soliciting business in the lobby of the DeLong building. It's really hard to do business these days. While sighing, Lu Chen chatted with Wang Changsheng, the manager of Nirvana Studio, in front of him for a few minutes. Wang Changsheng dared to come here to solicit customers because he had some confidence. This Nirvana Studio has an independent recording studio and band. Its members include 3 graduates of Beijing Conservatory of Music, who can complete all the work from composition to the later stage. The most important thing is that their prices are cheap. Wang Changsheng said, "Our studio has the ability to guarantee the production quality of Tianjai Workshop's D package. The price is only 100,000 yuan, and an album is only 100,000 yuan. Wang Changsheng is certainly not a shrewd businessman. He was obviously nervous when he offered the price. His eyes were fixed on Lu Chun, and his hands were involuntarily clenched into fists, as if he was worried that he would be ruthlessly rejected by the latter. But he said the previous sentence very confidently, and he knows Tianjai Workshop very well. Lu Chun feels a little interesting. The price of Tianjai Workshop's D package is 250,000 yuan. Wang Chongqing asked for 100,000 yuan, and there is obviously room for bargaining. There should be no problem cutting down a little more. But how can the other party guarantee the same quality? Tianjai Workshop's recording studio alone is said to have cost millions of yuan, and its advanced facilities are among the best in the industry. Lu Chun doesn't believe that Nirvana Studio will have such a big investment. Otherwise, as a manager, why does he need to run to pull business by himself? And it's like waiting for a rabbit. Lu Chun didn't think he was the rabbit hitting the tree. He thought about it and said, "Manager Wang, I'm going to release a solo album, but the quality requirements are very high. At present, it's Tianjai Workshop, so I'm sorry. Tianjai Workshop's D package is not Lu Chen's choice. If he wants a cheaper package, he can also choose the E package. At least it was more reliable than a small, unknown studio, right? Then I'm really sorry to disturb you. I'm sorry for wasting your time." Wang Chongsheng awkwardly waved his hand and said, "I should be the one apologizing. Then goodbye." Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. He wasn't mocking him. He just felt that this person wasn't a businessman and didn't even know the basics of negotiation. However, he had a better impression of Wang Chongsheng. Lu Chun stood up and took the initiative to extend his hand. "Manager Wang, I'll contact you again if there's a need." Good. Wang Chongsheng hurriedly got up and shook hands with Lu Chun. "Thank you." Lu Chun nodded and left the tea house. When he left, Lu Chun also paid the bill, by the way. A pot of tea here was not cheap. Wang Chongqing sat for a while longer. When he called the waiter to pay the bill, he found that Lu Chun had already paid the bill. He hurriedly ran out to catch up with Lu Chun, but he couldn't find the latter. Lu Chun returned to his home and spent the afternoon sorting out the songs of the album. There are 10 songs in an album. He originally finalized 6 songs. You Who Sat Next to Me, Love in the Wind, The Brother Who Slept on My Upper Bunk, Cinderella, The Bright Times of Youth, and Beauty. Now he can add Those Flowers and Ballad of Time. The 8 songs are unified and classic enough. For the first album in his life, Lu Chun will never be careless. After careful consideration, Once You was also added to the album list. Once You is not a folk song, but a light rock style, but Lu Chun likes this song very much. He decided to use this song as the ending song of the album, which is a little surprise egg. In fact, it's really extravagant to think about it. Whether it's You Who Sat Next to Me, Love in the Wind, or Those Flowers, or even Beauty, any song is qualified to be the title song of an album for publicity and promotion. Lu Chun put them all in the same album, which felt a bit of a waste of natural resources. Owning the treasures of a world is so capricious. As for the 10th song, Lu Chun has already thought about it. This song is also a folk song, the same nostalgic style, and very nostalgic. Just listen to it. The open space below my house is a cinema. It no longer appears on summer nights. Today's children don't know the past, the world people were intoxicated with at that time. When I grew up, I watched them perform love. When they kissed, I felt sad. Under the screen, children played games. In the movie, someone cried for her. There are no open-air cinemas in the city. I can't see the opposite side of the screen anymore. Are you still playing a game of that time? You can't see the stars when you watch the movie, When Lu Chun finished singing this soothing, delicate, and even a little poignant new song, the barrage in Lu Fei's live broadcast room was like a tide. It's so beautiful. Lu Fei is so talented. It's very nostalgic. I like it. It reminds me of when I was a child. The lyrics are so well written, and the melody is even better. What's the name of this song? I strongly request to sing it again. No, it's 10 more times. Sing it 10 more times plus 1. Lu Chun put down the guitar and said with a smile, the name of this song is called Open Air Cinema. It's the first time I've sung it in the live broadcast room. It's to make up for what I owe you during this period of time, and I hope you can like it. He went home and attended the graduation ceremony, so the live broadcast was temporarily suspended for a few days. When it was restarted this evening, the online popularity of the live broadcast room was much less. At first, there were only 300,000 plus. Therefore, in addition to singing a new song, Lu Chen also wanted to announce a piece of good news. After a pause, he continued, in addition to telling everyone one more thing, that is, I'm going to rearrange all the songs I've written before, make a real album, and then publish it on the internet. When the time comes, everyone is welcome to buy and download it. As soon as his voice fell, the live broadcast room suddenly burst into an uproar. What? An album? I didn't hear it wrong, did I? Lu Fei is mighty. That's great. I've been looking forward to this day. Host, big. Which website will your album be published on? Don't say anything else. When the time comes, I'll inform all my friends and classmates to buy the original album. Yes, we support the original album. An online album costs 10 yuan. The students say that there's no pressure. It's just skipping breakfast. The one in front is really a nouveau riche. Eating breakfast costs 10 yuan. But I want the CD more. CD plus 1. CD plus 2. CD plus 10,000. Along with the bullet screen, there were countless fish balls and aircraft carriers given by the nouveau riche. This was the most direct way for fish fans to express their joy. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room became extremely warm, and the popularity value rose steadily due to the emergence of heavy rewards. Although Lu Chen's every live broadcast was recorded, and all the songs he sang could be found in the Forum Fish Nest, a specially produced music album was a completely different matter. So far, apart from the hundreds of thousands of fish fans, Lu Chen has a group of real fans. They like the style of Lu Chen's live broadcast, like his original works, and like nostalgic or sad folk songs. On the days when they couldn't see Lu Chen's live broadcast, they would repeatedly watch the past videos, listen to his songs over and over again, and spare no effort to recommend them to others. These fans were no longer simple fans, but fans, celebrity fans. And they also had the strongest reaction to Lu Chen's upcoming album, and they most hoped that he could release a CD at the same time. What kind of album is an online album? A CD is the real album. Many Lu Fei fans expressed through the bullet screen that they would buy CDs to support Lu Chen. Their strong appeal, of course, was seen by Lu Chen. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It was not easy to release a CD album than to release an online album, and it was easier to lose money. There were too few people who bought CDs to listen to songs. However, the enthusiasm and eagerness of the fish fans gave Lu Chen a sudden flash of inspiration in his mind. In fact, it was not impossible to release an online album and a CD album at the same time. His idea came from the dream world, and it seemed that it had not appeared in this world. While Lu Chen was communicating with fans in a live broadcast room, the first single of the Bionics under Light Ray Media also began its first wave of promotion on the internet that night. Note, outdoor cinema lyrics/composer, Yudong. Chapter 81. Drip. Just after dinner, Chun Jian sat in front of the computer, as usual. He skillfully opened the small blue tab in the browser's favorites bar and linked it to Yushur. The middle-aged Chun Jian was a salaryman who worked 7 to 6. He had a gentle and kind wife and a lively and lovely daughter. At the same time, he was burdened with a heavy mortgage and family responsibilities. Therefore, he quit smoking and playing games and reduced the number of times he went out with his friends. While living frugally, he spent most of his free time in his small study, surfing the internet, reading news, novels, movies, and videos. Yushur is the earliest and largest video website in China. It claims to have hundreds of millions of registered members. Chun Jian likes to watch all kinds of colorful video programs on it, because they're all free. The mouse wheel had just rolled twice, and Chun Jian still hadn't found the content he liked. Suddenly, a small pop-up window popped up and intruded into his line of sight. There are more and more advertisements on Yushur, Chun Jian muttered discontentedly. Of course, He was already used to the discriminatory treatment of being a free member. He accepted his fate and opened the pop-up video window. This was because clicking on the advertisement could increase the points needed to exchange for an official member. The pop-up video instantly expanded to the entire screen, and the image was quite clear. The first thing that caught Chun Jian's eyes was the scene of a bustling metropolis. He could easily tell that this was the capital city. Then, the camera swooped down at high speed into an underground passageway. The spacious underground passage was clean and tidy. It was very lively with people coming and going. The men and women in the city rubbed shoulders with each other, and their footsteps were as fast as the rhythm of the city. On one side of the underground tunnel, there were many street performers performing. Some of them were performing magic, some were showing off their dance skills, and some were singing in low voices, hoping that their performances could impress the passers-by. The camera moved forward and finally stopped on a street band. The middle-aged singer stood in front of the microphone with a guitar in his arms. His eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of life, as if he was reminiscing. The four drummers, keyboardists, bassists, and guitarists leaned against the wall, motionless like frozen statues. After a while, the noise in the underground passage gradually disappeared, and the prelude of the music started. It was as if the band had suddenly woken up from a deep sleep. The performance began. I remember that spring many years ago. At that time, I hadn't cut my long hair yet. No credit card, no her. A home without 24-hour hot water. But back then, I was so happy. Although it was only a broken wooden guitar in the street, under the bridge, in the field, singing the song that no one cared about. When a slightly hoarse voice was transmitted to Chun Jian's ears through the small speaker that cost a few hundred yuan, his hand that was holding the mouse suddenly became extremely stiff. His index finger that was pressing on the left button couldn't be pressed. Originally, he had planned to close it. This song was like a bolt of lightning that suddenly broke through the defenses in his heart. It made him feel the emotions that he had suppressed in the bottom of his heart for a long, long time, to the point where he thought they had long disappeared, suddenly burst forth. If one day I have no one to rely on, leave me here in that time. If one day I left quietly, bury me in the ground, in the spring. Countless memories emerged in his mind. He used to be young and frivolous. He used to be high-spirited. Now, Chun Jian did not have the impulsive passion of the past. His days were calm and peaceful. He cherished his current life very much. It was tiring but happy, but he always felt that something was missing, but he couldn't tell what it was. Until I heard this song. Chun Jian had not shed tears since he was 10 years old, but at this moment, he had the urge to cry. He watched the not very long MV in a daze, but he didn't press the mouse. At this time, the door of the study was suddenly pushed open. A little head with a small braid poked in. Her big black eyes looked curiously at Chun Jian, who was in a daze. She looked very puzzled. Biting her finger, the little girl turned her head and shouted, "Mom, it's terrible. Dad is crying." "Xiaonan, don't shout." Chun Jian suddenly woke up as if he had just woken up from a dream. He almost fell off the chair. He hurriedly shook off the mouse and raised his hand to wipe the corners of his eyes. It was really a little wet. The sound of footsteps came from afar. Chun Jian's wife appeared at the door of the study and asked, "What's wrong?" The little girl said with certainty, "I saw Dad crying. It's shameful." Chun Jian was so ashamed that he became angry. "I'm not crying. Dad's eyes are sore, and he just took eye drops." "He's not crying." His wife smiled. She leaned over and picked up the little girl, then closed the door. "Let's not disturb Dad." Chun Jian finally breathed a sigh of relief. His attention returned to the screen. The picture on the screen froze at the last frame. It showed the name of the song and the singer in the spring/the bionics. Chun Jian calmed down, held the mouse, opened the website link of the video, and logged into the comment area. He wanted to say something. If he didn't say it, he was afraid that he would lose sleep at night. The comment area of this video titled "The New Power of Rock and Roll" in the spring has been very lively. The number of comments is as high as 50,000. In addition to VIP members, video advertising is the most important profit point of Usure. Based on the huge number of registered users, the cost of buying the homepage pop-up window is very high. Originally, the customers of the homepage pop-up window were basically product advertisers. Later, because the website users were very disgusted, coupled with the rise of the entertainment industry, the content of the pop-up window was changed to pop music, film and television previews, variety promotions, and so on. Many famous singers often buy a pop-up window on the homepage of Usure for a few days when they release a new song. The effect of promotion and publicity is quite good and can attract a lot of attention. For thousands of visitors to Usure, the Bionics is a completely strange band, but this does not prevent them from loving this song in the spring. A really good song. It's been downloaded and saved. You have to listen to it at least 10 times. It's a very tasty song, a rare light rock and roll masterpiece in recent times. It's well written and sung. Does anyone know if the Bionics have other works? Is it a new band? I didn't find it on the internet. It's very touching, but it's two vicissitudes. I want to cry when I listen to it. What should I do? Isn't the original poster's tier point too low? Although this song is really good. From now on, I'm the Bionics Rice. It's the first time I've finished reading the homepage pop-up window of Usure. It's my first time, too. One of the registered members named Mungi Chong and wrote in the comment post, "If life has not experienced suffering, then it will never be able to experience the happiness of life itself. Suffering is part of the happiness of life, and happiness is a sublimation of suffering. Whenever we look back on the past, how can we not cry? Recalling those who have experienced suffering, but the most worth recovering youth, there is always a touch of nostalgia in our hearts. But sadness does not mean depression. We sigh at the common suffering of life in the past, but we should know how to cherish the beauty and happiness of the present." I think that's what this song in the spring wants to tell us. Thank you, the Bionics, for letting me experience a touch and let me hear a really good song. In this ostentatious and noisy world, good songs like this were really too rare. The post Mungi Chong and was pinned by the administrator and received 30,000 plus likes. Mungi Chong and his Chunjian. The first single in the spring by the Bionics, a subsidiary of Light Rain Media, debuted on Usure. The number of hits exceeded 5 million that night, with more than 100,000 comments and 85% of the audience liked it. Such data is undoubtedly the beginning of a big hit. Immediately afterward, in the spring, launched the MV and original soundtrack on Tomato, QQ Music, NetEase Music, Pop Radio, and other online media simultaneously, all of which aroused widespread and enthusiastic attention. Starting on June 11th and ending on June 15th, a total of 5 days. In the spring, has exceeded 100 million views on Usure's website. The charm of a classic song can withstand the test of any time and space and will never be buried. In the spring has such power. As long as there is the right opportunity, it will inevitably shine with dazzling brilliance. Chapter 82. Beijing, CBD Central Business District South, Global Building, 39th floor, Light Rain Media Company, Limited. In the general manager's office, Dong Yu carefully read the thick financial statements. The coffee on the table was already cold. Light Rain Media was only established a few months ago. It was considered a newcomer in the industry. So far, the number of employees had not exceeded 50. However, with the development of the business, the work began to become very busy. Dong Yu had been working overtime. For her, to be able to take control of such a vibrant new company and then develop, it was a wonderful experience with a sense of accomplishment. Knock, knock. The door of a room was gently knocked. Without waiting for Dong Yu's response, the person pushed in. Dong Yu didn't raise her head because she knew that in the entire company, only one person would do this. Light Rain Media's director, Su Qingmei, Miss Su. Su Qingmei held 2 pieces of printed paper in her hand. She quickly walked to Dong Yu's desk and said with a smile, "Sister Yu, the promotional results of the Bionic single are out. It's 100% going to be a hit." Because of the excitement, a charming bright red appeared on her pretty face. making her even more charming and charming. Dong Yu put down the report and smiled faintly. We have invested millions. If we can't produce results, then I should resign as the general manager. The Bionics wasn't the first band signed by Light Ray Media, but it was the first group to debut. Light Ray Media Company was undoubtedly weak in this industry, where the big shots were as common as clouds. Even though Dong Yu and Su Qingmei had their own family background to rely on, in this industry, they still had to follow the rules. Therefore, the success of the first packaging operation after the opening was particularly important. For this reason, Light Ray Media spent a lot of manpower and material resources. Recently, the entire company was busy around the Bionics. Now, they finally saw the preliminary results. Just the funds invested in online media accounted for 70% of the budget. Nowadays, the entertainment industry was incomparably closely connected with the online world. It had become the main battlefield for most stars to promote themselves. It was wishful thinking for newcomers to stand out without spending money to buy a position. Of course, the effect of spending money, to a large extent, depended on the strength. Dong Yu had confidence in the Bionics, or more accurately, in the Bionics' new song, so she decisively released the Bionics first, instead of the North Needle Band that was signed earlier. The two thin pieces of paper in Su Qingmei's hands bore the weight of her success and failure. The Bionics' lead single in the spring had 115 million views on Yosher's website, with a favorable rating of 93. 26%. Tomato Web, 73 million views, 95. 2% positive rating. QQ Music, 15. 6 million plays, 97. 46% favorable rating. EasyNet Music, 12. 77 million plays, 96. 98% positive rating. Pop radio station. Such a result was so hot that it was scalding hot. It was inevitable that it would sell like hotcakes. Su Qingmei said proudly. Judging from the data summarized by various websites, the online promotion of this song is the best this year. Both Yosher and EasyNet Music hope that we can continue to chart. QQ Music has reevaluated the download expectation of the new album and intends to negotiate with us again. She had no reason not to be proud. QQ Music was the largest music website in China. Relying on hundreds of millions of QQ users, it represented the trend of domestic pop music to a large extent. If it wasn't for the trend of In the Spring to become a phenomenal work, this industry giant would never have taken the initiative to renegotiate the contract with Light Ray Media. The original conditions of cooperation proposed by Light Ray Media were directly passed by QQ Music. How could a small Light Ray Media be qualified to bargain with them? Right now, even Dong Yu also felt proud and elated. She said with a smile, "Then take manager Song to have a good talk with them. Our first choice is still QQ Music." Nowadays, the entertainment industry is taking the route of idols and stars. What they earn is the fan economy. No matter how popular a song is, it is simply wishful thinking to recover the cost of publicity through online or CD sales. QQ Music has the largest number of genuine downloads. A paid download of a song is 1 yuan, and VIP members are 0. 8 yuan. More than 100,000 paid downloads are hot sales. 300,000 is considered a big sale, and 500,000 is 99% likely to be their own ranking. Most people are used to using free online editions or free pirated resources. And for this little money, QQ Music must first take 50% and singers at least 10%. How can they earn back the cost? In the past, in the era of non-smart machines, hot song ringtone sales were a piece of fat meat. Now, who still plays with this? Therefore, the funds invested by Light Ray Media now must be recovered by the Bionics through advertising, notices, performances, variety shows, and other channels, and achieve profits. Of course, because of the huge influence of the internet, even if it is a loss, it has to be done. Su Qingmei beamed with joy. In the Spring is no problem selling well, and it will also drive the sales of the whole album. The other two new songs are also full of potential. Maybe we can earn back most of the cost by relying on online sales. Dong Yu sighed and said, It's a pity that we failed to sign Lu Chun. When it came to Lu Chun, Su Qingmei's face immediately became embarrassed. Lu Chun gave a total of 3 songs to the Bionics and Sister Na, plus 2 of Qin Yanghan's own original songs, a total of 5 songs to form a mini-album, which was the focus of Light Rain Media's current promotion. All 5 songs have been listened to by senior people in the industry, as the main song, In the Spring, has the highest evaluation. Sister Na's I Want to Have a Home and another song were also very well evaluated. Qin Yanghan's 2 songs were barely qualified. For a mini-album, having 3 good songs is completely enough. What made Su Qingmei depressed is that these 3 songs were all written by Lu Chun, and even the single that the North Needle Band is going to release is the same. Thinking of the loss she suffered from Lu Chun, Su Qingmei always felt her teeth itch. Anyway, she knew that she can't be willful on this matter, so she pouted and said, "Then I will talk to him again. At worst, I will give him the best conditions. I don't believe that he won't be tempted." If in the past, Lu Chen's original works have not been verified by the market, there is still the possibility of uncertainty. But now, his talent is unquestionable and even coveted. The key is that Lu Chun has not signed a contract with any company so far. He's like a diamond that fell on the street. If Light Rain Media doesn't think of a way to snatch him back, I'm afraid that there will not be another chance in the future. For the future and development of the company, Su Qingmei can still put down her pride. But Dong Yu is not optimistic. That may not be true. I feel that Lu Chun will not sign with anyone. He will do it alone. How about? She blinked at Su Qingmei and said, "You can sacrifice your body for the company. As long as you can seduce this handsome young man, you can do whatever you want." "Sister Yu." Su Qingmei's cheeks suddenly turned red, and she said angrily, "You are the general manager. If you want to sacrifice, you should be the one to sacrifice." Dong Yu said with a smile, "I'm an old woman. He doesn't want me." As soon as her voice fell, Su Qingmei rushed over, and her delicate hand went straight to her vital parts. "Then I'll take it." Laughter rang out, and the office was full of spring scenery. At this moment, Lu Chun didn't know that he was being remembered and that someone had to sacrifice her body. He just received a call from Tianjai Music Workshop. It was Miss and I, the business representative of Tianjai Music Workshop, who called Lu Chun. These days, in addition to early exercise, Lu Chun basically stayed at home, except for live broadcasts and sorting out songs. For the 10 songs of his debut album, he spent a lot of energy correcting the details to ensure that all the songs fit perfectly with the works in his memory, and sculpting the lyrics in order to achieve the effect of excellence. In addition, Lu Chun also wrote out the arrangement requirements of 10 songs, so that once a partner is determined, he can quickly enter the production link, saving a lot of time for communication. Most importantly, such work is also a process for Lu Chun to improve himself. He doesn't want to simply write songs according to his memory, and then casually throw them out to make money, becoming a moth lying on a mountain of gold. He hopes to become a well-deserved perfect star through continuous learning, digesting and integrating the spiritual wealth from the dream world. Chapter 83. Mr. Lu Chun, do you have time at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? The voice coming from the other side of the phone was very polite and pleasant, and even gave people a trace of wonderful reverie. Lu Chun didn't think too much. The first thing he thought of was the album he was going to make, so he immediately replied, "I have time, Miss and I. May I ask what it is?" Lu Chun didn't expect that the business representative of Tianjai Workshop would take the initiative to call him. He has also been thinking about album production for the past few days. Tianjai Workshop is of course the first choice, but it is not the only choice. Now that the other party is calling to invite him, there should be good news, right? Lu Chun can't be sure. After all, he is still a newcomer in this circle. The more he thinks about it, the more disappointed he will be. Miss and I chuckled and said, "It's a surprise. A director of our Tianjai Workshop wants to talk to you in person. We'll meet at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in the coffee shop on the 2nd floor of DeLong Building. Please tell him my name when you arrive, okay?" Lu Chun, "Okay, no problem." Surprise? How happy. The director of Tianjai Workshop sounds like he has some background. Lu Chen didn't dare to think too much, so the answer would be revealed tomorrow. A dreamless night. Early the next morning, he got up early to exercise as usual. After breakfast, he went home to take a bath and change his clothes. At 9:50 in the morning, Lu Chun arrived at DeLong Building ahead of time. DeLong Building is a standard commercial office building with a coffee shop and a buffet restaurant on the second floor. When he arrived, he reported Miss Ni's name and was taken to a small box by the window by the waiter. Miss Ni was already there. In addition to her, there were two other people in the box. One was a young man in a suit with a crew cut, and the other was a middle-aged man in his 50s with a square face, dressed casually but full of style. Lu Chun recognized that the latter was wearing a valuable Vacheron Constantine watch, one of the favorite brands of business elites, and he had a little idea in his heart. Seeing Lu Chun come in, Miss Ni and the young man stood up at the same time. Lu Chun apologized. "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for a long time." Miss Ni smiled and said, "We came early, but you are not late. Let me introduce you. This is the director of our Tianjai Workshop and the general manager of Juxing Brokerage Company, Mr. Jin Hongwei." Assembly of Stars Management Company? Jin Hongwei. Lu Chen's heart skipped a beat. He immediately extended his hand and said, "Hello, Director Jin. I've heard a lot about you." Lu Chun wasn't just being polite. He really knew the name of the CEO, Jin. Juxing Corporation was a famous management company in the entertainment industry. Not only was Jin Hongwei the founder of Juxing Corporation, he was also a big shot in the industry. He had produced many heavenly kings and queens. For example, Tan Hong, whom Lu Chun was most familiar with and loved, was discovered and cultivated by Jin Hongwei. Another example is Heavenly Queen Chun Fei who signed with Juxing Corporation at the earliest. Lu Chun's impression of Jin Hongwei all comes from the gossip news of the online entertainment industry. There are many good and bad rumors, but in the entertainment management industry, Jin Hongwei is recognized as the top figure. He didn't expect that Jin Hongwei would make an appointment with him today, and he was also one of the directors of Tianjai Workshop. What a surprise. Lu Chun felt a little flattered. Jin Hongwei's reputation for having sharp eyes and being good at digging up fresh talents is extremely resounding. Being fancied by him is undoubtedly the dream of those newcomers who want to step into the entertainment industry. It wasn't until Lu Chun extended his hand that Jin Hongwei stood up unhurriedly, shook hands with him, and said, "Well, Lu Chun, I heard your name half a month ago. You are a very talented young man." Lu Chun said with a smile, "Thank you for your compliment, Director Jin." "It's not a compliment, it's a fact." Jin Hongwei released his hand and said, "I've listened to the 3 songs you wrote for the Bionics. They were written very well. With your talent, you shouldn't be like this. You should stand on the real stage to become a big star in the limelight. I believe you have such strength." His words were not very impassioned, but they were plain and firm, full of bewitching power. Lu Chun could only smile. Jin Hongwei's evaluation was so high that he didn't know how to answer. "I'm very optimistic about you." Jin Hongwei motioned Lu Chun to sit down and talk, and Miss and I personally poured him tea. After a few casual chats, Jin Hongwei reached out to the young man next to him. The young man, Jin Hongwei's assistant, hurriedly took out a contract from the briefcase he carried with him. Jin Hongwei took it in his hand and said meaningfully, "Lu Chun, I know you want to release a solo album recently. Are you having trouble with funds? This is very simple. Our company will help you solve it. It will be customized according to the highest standard specifications and..." After a pause, he continued, "In a few days, the second season of Shonen TV's Super Singer will hold an audition. Our company has cooperation with them. How about recommending you to participate? At least guarantee that you will be in the top 3. The industry big shot put the contract in front of Lu Chun and said, "You just have to sign it." Jin Hongwei's voice was full of confidence. He obviously didn't think Lu Chun would refuse. Miss and I said with a smile, "Congratulations, Mr. Lu Chun." The highest standard of album customization, the top 3 of Super Singer, the support of Juxing Corporation, of course, there's also the favor of this big shot in the entertainment industry. For any newcomer, this was simply a dream come true. Lu Chen looked at the contract placed in front of him, and the fame and benefits he longed for seemed to be within reach. It's just that everything came too fast. He wasn't mentally prepared yet. However, at this time, Lu Chen didn't get carried away. Instead, he calmed down. There's no such thing as a pie falling from the sky. Jushin Corporation and Jin Hongwei are not living lay foam. How much they pay, they must earn it back in double. Does this contract really want to sign? Lu Chen couldn't help but think of the news on the internet. Tan Hong and Chun Fei, cultivated by Jin Hongwei, eventually fell out with him and fought a lawsuit. Both of them once denounced Jushin Corporation's domineering and harsh contract. Although the rumors on the internet may not be true, and creating public opinion must occupy the moral high ground, there must be a reason for groundless rumors. Jin Hongwei's evaluation in the industry is not perfect. The contract in front of him reminded Lu Chen of some unpleasant past. His determination, which had just been shaken, became firm again. Mr. Jin, thank you for your kindness. Lu Chen didn't look at the contract, but raised his head and said to Jin Hongwei, but I'm not going to sign a contract with any company, so please forgive me. Lu Chen is not confident that he is stronger than Tan Hong and Chen Fei. Jin Hongwei has given him such a high treatment. This contract must be very strict and even harsh. In all likelihood, it's a contract to sell himself. In order to prevent others from thinking that he is putting on airs before becoming famous, Lu Chen directly rejected it and clearly expressed his attitude and thoughts. For Jin Hongwei, Lu Chen's rejection was completely out of his expectations. Why did you reject it? How can I reject it? How dare I reject it? Jin Hongwei's shock was directly expressed on his face. Even with his deep and profound character, he also lost his composure. Jin Hongwei has been in the entertainment industry for 30 years. He started off as a small agent's assistant. Until now, what he is most proud of is that he can sign anyone he wants to sign. Basically, there is no one he can't sign. Back then, Tan Hong was so difficult to deal with, but he was also settled by him. Back then, Chun Fei was so arrogant, but didn't he still sign his name on the contract? Lu Chen is just a newcomer who hasn't officially debuted yet, but he actually ignored the generous conditions he put forward. He didn't even look at the contract and rejected it. It is simply a slap in the face. His assistant and Miss and I were also stunned. They looked at Lu Chen with disbelief. A golden road to fame is paved under his feet, but Lu Chen is actually unwilling to step on it. Is he crazy or stupid? After all, Jin Hongwei is not an ordinary person. His face changed for a moment and quickly calmed down. He asked, Lu Chen, do you have any difficulties? Can you tell me? Lu Chen didn't know what the other person was thinking. He felt very embarrassed and explained, Mr. Jin, I'm really sorry. I just don't like to be bound. I originally planned to open a personal studio, so I understand. Jin Hongwei nodded and said, then I can understand. I'm really sorry. I hope there will be opportunities for cooperation in the future. Lu Chen said happily, thank you. Now that he has refused, he couldn't stay any longer, so he got up and left. Jin Hongwei didn't ask him to stay, but finally said, Lu Chen, your talent should not be buried. Go and participate in the Super Singer. I'm very optimistic about you. After Lu Chen left, the face of the big shot in the industry suddenly sank. Even the temperature in the box dropped a lot. Chapter 84. Shonen TV is the overlord of variety shows on domestic family TV screens. Its daily variety shows Happy Big Family, Celebrity Duo, Everyday Life Show, and other programs have high ratings and have been superior to their peers for many years. Since 2008, Shonen TV has also launched Supergirl, Superboy, National New Idol, and other popular talent competitions, which have achieved great success. They have launched a number of well-known idol stars and attracted other major satellite TV stations to compete to imitate them, setting off waves of national entertainment. Although Lu Chen doesn't watch much TV programs, he is still familiar with the name of Shonen TV. So when he got home, he searched for Shonen TV and Super Singer on the internet as soon as he got home. As a result, there was a surprising discovery. Super Singer is a singing talent competition launched by Xiangnan Satellite TV last year. With its high professionalism and fierce competitiveness, it won the season's variety ratings champion. Tien, Super Singer and fan mail-in, who finally won the championship of Super Singer, is now a domestic A-list star and one of the leading Hua Dan of Chungtian Entertainment. She just released her first album not long ago. Lu Chun learned about the rules and process of the talent competition of Super Singer in detail and watched many episodes of the first season. He felt that this talent competition was really suitable for him, and it was undoubtedly a shortcut to fame. With so many original works in his hands, he will surely be able to shine in Super Singer. Even if he can't win the championship, with the help of the super high ratings of Super Singer, Lu Chun can also promote himself well, which will be of great help to his future development. The audition for Super Singer will begin on June 20th, that is, the day after tomorrow. He doesn't need to go all the way to Xiangnan to sign up for the competition, because there is a branch venue in Beijing. If it weren't for Jin Hongwei's reminder today, Lu Chun might have missed this opportunity. But after the excitement, recalling the process of meeting with the industry's big shot, Lu Chun always felt that something was wrong. It was too simple. Jin Hongwei proposed generous terms and took out the contract that he had prepared. After being rejected on the spot, the other party did not have any intense reaction other than being surprised. He did not even try to persuade Jin Hongwei anymore and left peacefully. This Jin Hongwei didn't seem to be the same as Lu Chen's impression of the godfather of entertainment management. Of course, Lu Chen's impression of him came entirely from the internet. There must be something wrong with him. He did not know him at all. Lu Chun thought about it and felt a little uneasy, so he called Chun Jinhao. Before Chun Jinhao opened the bar, he was also an insider. Perhaps he had dealt with Jin Hongwei before and knew him better. Xiao Lu, Chun Jinhao, sounded tired, as if he had just woken up. "Why are you looking for me?" Lu Chun told him about Jin Hongwei looking for him to sign a contract today. Chun Jinhao listened quietly and then sneered, "Xiao Lu, do you know what Jin Hongwei's nickname is in the circle?" Lu Chun asked, "What nickname?" "His nickname is Golden Tortoise," Chun Jinhao said slowly. "The shell looks beautiful and attractive. If you want to touch him and get some light, you will be bitten by him. He won't let go until he bites off a piece of flesh and blood." Da Qin and Cisterna's album was produced in Tianjai Workshop, and you are the songwriter. Jin Hongwei's vision is still very good. He knows that you are alone now. Of course, he wants to bite you in his mouth. Lu Chun was cold and speechless, but he could hear that Chun Jinhao was extremely disgusted with this big shot in the industry. Chun Jinhao continued, "So it's very right that you don't sign the contract. It's not easy to take advantage of Jin Hongwei. The better the conditions he offers now, the harder he will squeeze you in the future, and there are many means to make you unable to get out. I used to know a young man, as talented as you, who was signed by Jin Hongwei. Do you know where this young man is now?" Without waiting for Lu Chun to ask, Chun Jinhao revealed the answer himself. "He is in a drug rehabilitation center, and his whole person has been ruined. Do you know how he got addicted to drugs? This circle is too dark and deep. It's good for you to work alone. Although it may be very hard and tiring, at least you have the freedom of choice." Lu Chun nodded and said, "I understand, boss. Thank you for reminding me." Fortunately, he called Chun Jinhao. Otherwise, he really didn't know about Jin Hongwei's dark side and thought that the other party was very good. This kind of person should be kept at a respectful distance is the best choice. Chun Jinhao seemed to be fully awake and asked, "Are you going to participate in the Super Singer?" Lu Chun said, "Boss, how do you know? Don't call me boss anymore. It's annoying to hear." Chun Jinhao said with dissatisfaction, "You are not a waiter in Forget Worries Bar now. Just call me brother." Lu Chun said with a smile, "Brother Kenho." Chun Jinhao was satisfied and then explained, "You are very suitable to participate in the Super Singer competition, but you should know that it doesn't mean that you have talent and ability. You can stand out in such a popular program. The Last Champion, fan mail-in, signed Changtian Entertainment before participating in the competition, so people will support her, understand? Lu Chun said with a wry smile, I understand. His biggest problem is that he is fighting alone, and he can't compare with others with a strong background. There are rules in the entertainment industry. Whether it is the hidden rules or the clear rules, if you want to get more, you have to pay more first. Changtian Entertainment is a partner of Shonen TV and also participates in the production process of Super Singer. Therefore, this entertainment company has a lot of say in Super Singer. Jin Hongwei has a wide network in Shonen TV. Jushin Corporation and Changtian Entertainment have long-term business dealings. It is said that the two sides hold shares in each other. You refused Jin Hongwei and still want to participate in the Super Singer? Luchin really understood. Then I won't go. Society is too terrible. For the time being, he will honestly make money by live broadcasting and then make an album. No. What Luchin didn't expect was that Chun Jinhao said, I support you to sign up for the audition and bring your best work there. It doesn't matter if you can't pass. On the 25th, Beijing Television's Singing China audition registration. I'll help you get a recommendation letter so that you can directly participate in the live audition. Whether it is Super Singer or other talent shows, the audition process is divided into two parts. The first is the public primary election. That is the first screening of the registered contestants, and those who are completely unreliable are eliminated. Basically, the first stage is to filter out more than 90% of the contestants, and then the live audition. However, sometimes, in order to achieve the effect of the program, the organizer will deliberately omit some strange contestants to enter the live audition, entertain hundreds of millions of TV viewers, and at the same time hype. If you want to attract attention, don't care too much about integrity. Beijing Television is not as good as Shonen TV, but it's not so complicated, and it's suitable for you to participate. Qin Jinhao finally said, I'd like to see you eliminated by Super Singer. It must be interesting. Ha. He laughed. Lu Qin asked, Brother Kenho, do you have a grudge against Jin Hongwei? Qin Jinhao's laughter stopped abruptly. After a long time, he said, the young man I just told you, he used to call me boss. I've always regretted that I couldn't stop him from signing to Jushin Corporation at that time. Fortunately, I can persuade you now. Lu Chun was silent. After ending the call with Chun Jinhao, Lu Chun thought for a moment. He opened the registration address of Super Singer that he found on the internet and filled out a registration form according to the prompts on the webpage. Super Singer supports online registration, and after completion, you can directly participate in the audition preliminary test. On June 20th, when Lu Chun finished filling out the registration form and confirmed that it was sent, another 2 minutes passed. In a luxury box on the upper floor of the Resplendent Bar in Sanlitun, Beijing, Jin Hongwei, who was lying on the sofa and tasting red wine, suddenly looked as if he was awakened from deep thought. He put down his glass and took out his cell phone from his pocket. Opening the text message he had just received and reading it, the industry's big shot showed a smug smile. It's like a hunter who sees his prey fall into a trap. Chapter 85. June 20th. Cloudy. Air index, good. At 9 a.m., the Capitol Stadium in Beijing was decorated with lanterns and streamers. The registration and preliminary test for the second season of Shonen TV's Super Singer in Beijing Division were launched at the same time. Hundreds of tents have been set up in the gymnasium. All the tarpaulins have been customized to represent the orange color of Xiangnan Satellite TV. The black and white logo of Super Singer is printed on it, which is particularly eye-catching. Above the surrounding auditorium, huge advertisements are spray-painted everywhere, with the word rich clearly written on it. As the hegemon of domestic satellite TV variety, Shonen TV's advertising revenue is catching up with CTV, and it surpasses the latter in terms of capital utilization. It's really not short of money, but it also dares to come to the capital to set up a stage. When Lu Chun arrived at the capital stadium, there were at least tens of thousands of people gathered inside. Because of worries about traffic jams on the road, Lu Chun came by subway. There were many audition singers like him who were carrying guitars on their backs, and some of them were much younger than him. When he arrived at the stadium, he realized that it was a real sea of people. If it weren't for a large number of staff wearing yellow vests to guide the crowd, Lu Chun wouldn't have been able to find a place to participate in the preliminary test. The on-site registration for Super Singer Beijing Division was only for one day, and online registration had already begun. After Lu Chun completed the online registration, he was lucky to be assigned to the first day of the preliminary test. The time for the preliminary test of the audition is 3 days, and after the end of the audition, there will be an official live broadcast of the audition on the 25th. Lu Chun's contestant number is 17,690, which means that more than 10,000 people have signed up before him. In addition to the number of people who signed up in the next few days and on the spot, it is estimated that there are at least 30,000 to 40,000, or even 40,000 to 50,000. This number is quite exaggerated. It should be known that this is only the number of people who signed up for the Beijing division, and Super Singer has higher requirements for the talent contestants. They must be able to sing and write songs, and at least have a certain level of music literacy, otherwise they will be a laughingstock. But on the other hand, only in Beijing can there be such a grand occasion, because Beijing has gathered countless Beijing drifting singers, plus the 3 major music academies and numerous music training institutions, big and small entertainment and media companies. It's really normal for people to have a lot of people. According to the contestants' number, Lu Chun was assigned to the 19th preliminary contestant. The so-called preliminary test was actually a big tent. The contestants would enter in order to perform. If they passed, they could enter the live auditions on the 25th. If they didn't pass, they would be directly eliminated. Shonen TV was well prepared. Although there were many contestants waiting for their turn, everything was in good order. There was an awning outside the preliminary area, and there were plastic chairs for the contestants to rest on. There was also free mineral water. There were at least 100 or 200 contestants sitting together with Lu Chun. Some of the contestants had even brought their entire families. For example, there was a little girl to the left of Lu Chun. She looked to be about 14 or 15 years old and was dressed like a princess. She was surrounded by her parents and grandparents, serving her like an empress dowager. The little girl was very arrogant, holding a pink guitar in her arms. Probably noticing Lu Chun's gaze, she turned her head and rolled her eyes at Lu Chun big. Her mouth was so pouting that one could hang a milk bottle. Lu Chun couldn't help shaking his head. He stood up and said to the little girl's grandmother, "Old lady, this seat is for you. Take care of yourself." The seats in the waiting area were all for the contestants. There were no relatives or friends. Lu Chun saw that it was really hard for the old lady to stand, so he took the initiative to give his seat to her. The old lady and the little girl's parents, who were surprised, thanked him repeatedly. Lu Chun smiled and stood to the side. What was interesting was that the little girl's eyes suddenly turned red, and large drops of crystal-clear tears fell down, startling everyone in the family. The next moment, she jumped down from her seat, pulled her grandfather, and said, "Grandpa, sit." Her grandfather hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Grandpa, sit." Xiaoqi, sit. The little ancestor immediately lost her temper. "If I ask you to sit, then sit. If you don't sit, I'm going home. I don't want to play anymore." Her grandfather had to sit down. The little girl was satisfied, and she looked at Lu Chun provocatively. Lu Chun smiled and gave her a thumbs up. The little girl didn't buy it. She snorted and turned her head away from him. Time passed little by little. The clouds in the sky dispersed, and the sun came out. The hot sun shone in the open-air stadium. The temperature kept rising, and the air was filled with an anxious atmosphere. Lu Chun was a little dizzy from waiting. He drank 2 bottles of mineral water. Contestants 17688 and 17689, please come and get ready. At this time, a staff member came out of the preliminary tent on the 19th and said loudly with a loudspeaker in his hand, Contestants 17688 and 17689, please come in and get ready. Immediately, two singers stood up and followed the staff into the big tent. Lu Chun suddenly felt refreshed. After sitting there for more than 2 hours, it was finally his turn. The organizers were still very efficient. As the preliminary tent, there were entrances and exits on the left and right sides. The contestants who lined up here went in, and there were people coming out on the other side. There were also newcomers entering the waiting area outside the venue. The one who just came out was a girl in a white dress. She was crying so hard that even the makeup on her face was ruined. She ran out of the venue regardless. It was estimated that she was ruthlessly eliminated in the first round. The contestants in the waiting area were used to it. There were tens of thousands of people who participated in the preliminary audition, and at least 90% were eliminated in the first round. The competition in this kind of popular talent show was actually very cruel. No matter how much effort they put in at the beginning or how much praise they received, there was still the possibility of being eliminated at any later stage. Shonen TV's talent show had always been very controversial, but it couldn't stop their high ratings. Therefore, as contestants, they had to be mentally prepared to accept failure. In contrast, Lu Chen's mentality was much more relaxed. He was happy to succeed, and it didn't matter if he failed. He mainly came to warm up and familiarize himself with the process and atmosphere of the talent show. If Chen Jinhao's judgment was right, after about 5 minutes, 2 more contestants came out, and then the staff appeared. Contestants 17690 and 17691, please come and get ready. Lu Chun hurriedly walked over with his guitar. It was also a bit of a coincidence that contestant 17691, who was following him, was the arrogant little girl. Her group of relatives and friends wanted to follow in, but they were stopped by the staff. Family members are not allowed to enter. Lu Chun looked back and saw that they were very anxious around the entrance. He said, "You don't have to worry. I will help take care of this little sister. She will be out soon." It was probably because Lu Chen's previous action of giving up his seat made the little girl's family feel good, so they reluctantly felt relieved. The little girl snorted and said, "I don't want you to take care of me. I'm not your little sister." Lu Chen ignored her and looked curiously at the situation in the preliminary area. His current position should be regarded as backstage, but the area was very small. There were 2 singers waiting to go on stage in front of him. Sitting here, he could clearly hear the singing on the stage inside and the judges' comments. When he came in, a contestant had just finished singing. He heard the judge say, "There are 2 passages that are well written and sung. Pass." Another judge said, "Well, I agree." The third judge said, "Pass." It was very fast, without any sloppiness. There were 3 judges in the preliminary test, and 2 of them passed. The contestants only had a little more than a minute to go on stage, so they couldn't sing longer. If the judges felt that something was wrong, they would be interrupted after a few words and then eliminated. The 2 singers in front of Lu Chun were eliminated. Contestant 17690. Hearing his number, Lu Chun calmly picked up his guitar and walked in. The layout inside was very simple. 3 judges, 2 men and 1 woman, were sitting behind a long table. There was a folding chair in the open space in front of them. There was not even a microphone, but a small digital camera was next to it. As soon as Lu Chun stood still, the female judge said, "Let's begin." She must have said the same words many times, but it sounded weak. Lu Chun bowed, slightly as a salute, and then skillfully plucked the strings and began to play. He was playing "You Who Sat Next to Me." Chapter 86. Will you remember tomorrow, what you wrote in the diary yesterday? Will you still think about tomorrow? Once stop. An original song. "You Who Sat Next to Me." Lu Chen had just sung the first few words when he was interrupted by the female judge. The 30-year-old judge, who was still attractive, said with a smile, "Yes, I'll pass you." She turned to look at the other 2 judges and said, "What do you think?" Both judges nodded and said, "Pass." The female judge smiled at Lu Chun and said, Congratulations, you can participate in the official audition. Come on. Lu Chen was stunned at first, and then quickly reacted. He bowed and said, "Thank you." 3 teachers. It took him less than half a minute to go on stage, and he passed just like that? That's too fast. In fact, Lu Chen underestimated his strength. His strength is not only his original work and singing skills, but also his external conditions. Simply put, it is his appearance. With a height of 180 plus, handsome appearance, and a good and healthy physique, he will not be easily eliminated in the preliminary audition of any popular talent show. The privilege of a handsome man. Therefore, as long as Lu Chen can play and sing, the 3 judges will not care about his original work and directly pass him. This is an era of appearance, and Lu Chen belongs to this era. After he left the stage, a staff member sent him a plastic-sealed color-printed card paper with the logo of Super Singer printed on the front and his new audition number, 0580. As for the reverse side of the card, against the background of the blue starry sky, there are 2 big golden characters promotion printed. It's a very beautiful card. Even if you can't pass the next round, it can be collected as a souvenir. Lu Chen did not rush to leave the big tent, but waited for the little girl behind him to go on stage. The little girl, 17,691, performed very well and played the guitar well, so she quickly got the promotion card. When she came down and saw Lu Chen, she raised her round little chin proudly. Lu Chen laughed involuntarily and accompanied her out of the preliminary testing area. The little girl's family had been waiting outside for a long time. When they saw her proudly waving the promotion card in her hand, they all cried out in excitement, wishing that they could immediately announce it to the world with great fanfare. Lu Chen thought it was quite interesting. He silently gave his blessing and then left the stadium. That night, he received a call from Chen Jinhao. The other party simply inquired about Lu Chen's process of participating in the preliminary audition during the day and his advancement number, but did not say anything else. Lu Chen felt that his former boss seemed to be hiding something or planning something. However, everyone had their own privacy, and there was no need for him to delve into it. 5 days were neither short nor long. Time flew by in the midst of the busy work. June 25th, sunny, Super Singer official audition. The location of the official audition was still in the Capitol Grand Stadium, but it was moved from the open-air football field to the indoor basketball court. The scale has been reduced a lot, but the specifications have been improved a lot. After the elimination of the preliminary audition, although the singers who advanced to the official audition were less than 1 in 10, they could not all be selected in just 1 or 2 days. Lu Chen's luck was still there, and he was still arranged on the first day. The basketball court was divided into 2 by the organizers, forming 2 live audition stages in the north and south. Many staff members wearing Shonen TV uniforms were busy, and more than 10 cameras were set up inside and outside. It was said to be a live broadcast, but in fact, it was a recorded broadcast. The audition process would be broadcast on the internet and TV after post-editing. The content of the live broadcast was also available, but it was all live interviews and the like. Therefore, most of the audition contestants will not appear on the screen unless they advance to the first round of the official competition. The contestants sat in the auditorium of the basketball court according to their respective promotion number, and they still entered by calling the number. Lu Chen estimated that there were about 300 or 400 competitors on the first day. Then it was a long wait. Many contestants are very experienced. They gathered together in 2s and 3s, chatted about music, encouraged each other to relax, and practiced playing and singing repeatedly on the spot, but most of them only practiced in fragments. At noon, the staff delivered lunchboxes. Although it was only fast food, the content was quite rich. Beef, shrimp, eggs, and fresh vegetables were by no means the kind of cheap goods that cost 10 or 20 yuan. The taste was quite good. Lu Chen didn't eat until he was half full. It wasn't that he wasted food, but that it was not good for singing when he was full. At about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Lu Chen finally heard the staff calling his number, 0580. Under the guidance of the staff, he quickly came to the preparatory backstage, and after another 2 minutes, he officially appeared. The number of judges for the official audition increased to 4. 2 men and 2 women were not unknown people. Liu Chen recognized at least 2 of them. He had a little impression of the names of the other 2, but he was not familiar with them. The layout of the venue was very luxurious. There were 4 cameras in the front, back, left, and right. In addition to the 4 judges, there were as many as 7 or 8 staff members on the scene. Even if there was no audience, the atmosphere was completely different from the preliminary. In the face of the 4 cameras and the 4 judges, Liu Chen did not have stage fright. He said calmly, "Hello, judges and teachers. I am contestant 0580, Liu Chen from Zhejiang." Even if he had not eaten pork, he had seen pigs running. Liu Chen had watched a lot of talent shows on the internet in the past few days. He already had a good understanding of the audition, so he introduced himself properly after he went on stage. "Today, I will bring you this song called You Who Sat Next to Me. Please give me some pointers." A female judge smiled and said, "Then let's get started. You have 2 minutes to sing well." Liu Chen knew this judge. She was Liu Ya, a well-known female singer in China. She was good at singing love songs. She should be in her 30s or 40s this year, but she looked more like a person in her 20s, full of mature and beautiful charm. Liu Chen nodded and began to play and sing with the guitar in his arms. "Tomorrow, will you remember that you wrote in the diary yesterday, beep?" After playing a simple prelude, he had just opened his mouth to sing 2 lines when a harsh chirp suddenly sounded. A striking red light lit up in front of one of the judges' table. According to the rules of the audition, this meant that the judge did not approve of Liu Chen's singing and would not advance to the next round. Liu Ya looked at the other party in surprise. This judge was Zhang Xiaoan, a variety show host of Shonen TV. He was very famous in the industry. It was somewhat unusual for him to reject Liu Chen so quickly. Liu Chen had no problem in playing the guitar. In fact, he was quite skilled and excellent. The melody of the work was also quite good. Why was the red light lit up after only 2 lines? Zhang Xiaoan was expressionless, as if he did not notice Liu Ya's gaze at all. Liu Chen raised his eyebrows. It would be a lie to say that he was not affected by the red light that suddenly lit up. However, he was not a newcomer after all, so he continued to play and sing smoothly. "Tomorrow, will you still remember that you used to love to cry the most?" Beep. The second red light lit up. This time, it was another female judge, Jenny Chan, who had returned to China from overseas in recent years. She was a female singer and musician who had returned to China from overseas in recent years. She was currently very popular in the pop music industry. She didn't seem to like the style of Liu Chen's work. She frowned and looked very impatient. According to the rules, if 3 red lights were lit up among the 4 judges, the contestant would be directly eliminated. Liu Chen, who had been lit up with 2 red lights, was completely calm. He played and sang half of the song, You Who Sat Next to Me. "Thank you." He bowed to the judges with his guitar in his arms. Even if there were 2 red lights in front, Liu Chen's interpretation of the song was still perfect without any shortcomings. Zhang Xiaoan said lightly, "The style is too old, and the melody is also average. I have to continue to work hard." Jenny Chan commented, "You played the guitar well, but we chose the best singer, so I can only say sorry. I hope you will work hard next time." The implication was that Liu Chen's song was not good. Liu Ya smiled and said, "Liu Chen, I think your work is very good." Beep. Before she finished speaking, the 4th judge, sitting on the far left, pressed the red light. 3 red lights out. Chapter 87. Liu Ya's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of anger that was almost undetectable. She had been in the industry for more than 10 years. Although she was not among the top stars in the circle, she used to be a first-line singer. Even if she was a little outdated now, when had she been interrupted so rudely before she finished speaking? The judge who interrupted her was called Zhuang Hao, an editor and music critic of the fashion magazine Beauty. In terms of fame in the circle, Liao was at least 3 streets ahead of him. However, Liao did not directly express her anger, because when Jenny Chan flashed the red light, she felt that something was wrong. It seemed that the contestant named Lu Chan was deliberately targeted. Having been in the entertainment circle for so many years, Lu Ya had always been clean. At the same time, she was also very clear about how deep the water in this circle was. She had seen a lot of darkness and filth hidden under the bright and beautiful appearance. So, she instinctively kept silent. Those who cried out for injustice could not stand in this circle. Zhuang Hao did not look at Lu Ya, but just stared at Lu Chun and said, "I agree with Zhang Xiaoan's opinion. The style of your song is too old-fashioned, and the melody is familiar. It lacks enough originality and is too amateur, so it cannot be passed." His voice was very calm, dry as if he was narrating a boring report, but there was a faint disdain and ridicule in his words, which made people feel embarrassed and embarrassed. However, to the 4 judges' surprise, including Lu Ya, Lu Chun was neither embarrassed nor angry after listening to it, nor did he defend or protest or beg for another chance like many young singers who were eliminated. He nodded and said politely, "Thank you for your comments, for judges. What a pity." There was a trace of pity in Lu Ya's heart. In her opinion, Lu Chun was very good and should not be suppressed. That's right, the word suppressed was almost written on Zhuang Hao's face. She had no idea who Lu Chun had offended. The next moment, Lu Chun straightened up, looked straight at Zhuang Hao and said, "But I don't agree with your opinion, Mr. Zhuang Hao. This song of mine has been registered in the Greater China Music Library long ago. There is no plagiarism or imitation. Besides, someone offered 100,000 yuan to buy it." He smiled confidently. "But I didn't sell it." What was face-slapping? This was face-slapping right in front of their faces. Didn't Zhuang Hao comment on "you who sat next to me" as having a familiar melody and lack of originality? Then Lu Chun told him that this song was registered in the Greater China Music Library. Are you more authoritative than the Greater China Music Library? It was also true that someone offered 100,000 yuan for it. Of course, Lu Chun did not sell it. He kept this classic for himself. Too old-fashioned and amateurish? Is the person who paid for it an idiot? Zhuang Hao's face turned red in an instant. This is not the first time that Zhuang Hao has served as a judge of Super Singer. He is used to evaluating the contestants from high position. Although he has seen many unruly guys, it is the first time that he has been slapped in the face in such a targeted manner. No matter how thick his face is, he can't withstand a heavy slap. In addition to Zhuang Hao, Zhang Xiaoan and Jenny Chan also felt that their face had been peeled off by Lu Chun. Lu Chun didn't give them a chance to fight back. He nodded to Lu Ya and then left the stage freely. Among the 4 judges, he only had a little affection for Lu Ya. Snap! Zhuang Hao slammed the pen in his hand on the table and scolded angrily. Young people nowadays are getting more and more impolite and not modest at all. It's no wonder that the atmosphere in the pop music world is getting worse and worse. What the hell? Zhang Xiaoan said with a sullen face. Yes, so we should be stricter. Those with bad conduct should be eliminated. Otherwise, Shonen TV will lose face in front of the whole country. Jenny Chan picked up her notebook as a fan and fanned herself hard. She sneered, "With such a temper, it's no wonder that someone wants to teach him a lesson. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He will cry in the future." Zhuang Hao and Zhang Xiaoan turned their heads to look at her at the same time, with a strange look. How could such a thing be said? Lu Ya suddenly understood and was not surprised. Jenny Chan didn't care about their strange looks. So what if there were 4 cameras on the scene? This video is 100% going to be cut, and no one will care about a little new singer. The audition of Super Producer continued. Lu Chun walked out of the Capitol Stadium. The afternoon sun shone on his face, which was still hot. He took a long breath and exhaled resentment. Although such a result was expected by Lu Chun, he did not have a trace of fantasy in his heart. Maybe Chen Jinhao was biased against Jin Hongwei, and thus lost his accurate judgment, and the bloody reality taught him a lesson. Don't think you're so great. In the eyes of some people, you're just a chess piece that can be manipulated at will. Lu Chun couldn't help clenching his fists. He became more and more determined to take the path he wanted to take. His cell phone rang. Lu Chun picked it up. Luchun, I just heard a sad news. You didn't pass the audition of Super Singer question mark. Jin Hongwei's voice came from the other side of the phone, and his tone was very regretful. Luchin said, "Yes, thank you for your concern, Mr. Jin." When he answered, there was a smile on his face, a sarcastic smile. Sure enough, Jin Hongwei couldn't see Luchin's look and continued, "It doesn't matter. It's not terrible for young people to fail once. The door of our Jushin Corporation is always open for you. We can provide you with a direct ticket to advance to the knockout stage. In addition, I have arranged a dinner party in the evening. Invite the 2 judges to come over and sit down. You can apologize to them." I think beep, beep. Before he finished speaking, the call was cut off. Jin Hongwei was stunned and quickly dialed Lu Chen's cell phone number again. The answer he got was, "Dear user, the cell phone you dialed is not in the service area." Shit. Jin Hongwei finally understood, and in a fit of rage, he threw his phone away. This notification meant that Lu Chun had blacklisted his number and didn't want to talk to him anymore. In other words, Jin Hongwei's efforts to stir up trouble were all in vain. Lu Chun didn't bite at all. Jin Hongwei had never met such a rookie who did not know how to appreciate favors and was unmoved by force or persuasion. His lungs were about to explode from anger, and Lu Chun didn't care what the other person's reaction was. As the saying goes, one can be strong without desire. He didn't want anything from Jin Hongwei. If he had to swallow the humiliation and bow his head after being schemed against, he might as well buy a piece of tofu and kill himself. Get out of here. After blacklisting Jin Hongwei's number, Lu Chun felt refreshed and his mind was clear. But after 3 seconds, his phone rang again. This time, it was Chun Jinhao who called. This made Lu Chun suspect that he and Jin Hongwei had discussed it. Of course, this was a joke. Lu Chun immediately picked up. "Brother Kinho?" Chun Jinhao laughed and said, "Was Jin Hongwei calling you just now?" Lu Chun was surprised. "How did you know?" Chun Jinhao sneered and said, "With his character, I can guess what he said to you. Did he want you to sign a contract with Jushin Corporation and guarantee that you could be promoted to the strongest producer? Did he want you to apologize to the judges?" Lu Chun was completely speechless. Chun Jinhao was right. Chun Jinhao, ha. You're really good. You haven't even mixed into the entertainment industry, but you've already offended a few people in the circle. I heard that Zhuang Hao's face was almost swollen by you, and he scolded you. Lu Chun said with a wry smile, "I was impulsive." "What's impulsive?" Chun Jinhao said with a smile, "You played very well. That grandson just needs a beating. Anyway, you don't have to worry about this anymore. Concentrate on preparing for the live audition of Singing China on July 3rd and the qualifying round on July 10th. Chun Jinhao asked Lu Chun for a direct audition card for Beijing Television's Singing China, so he didn't need to participate in the preliminary audition held in the Capitol Workers Stadium today and directly entered the official audition. Chun Jinhao also believed that Lu Chun could easily pass the audition and advance to the qualifying round. But you have to remember what happened today. This is your first lesson in the entertainment industry. I think you should have learned a lot. Work hard, young man. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.